Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 2 of Eberron, Gateway to Perdition. Look, we did it. We made it back for a second one. We did the first one, and we're not immediately canceled. So we get to do some more episodes. I'm very proud of us. I'm excited.
Why do I hear
an echo? Because someone forgot to mute his Twitch. That's logging in to look at the chat and
I appreciate it. I like being able to hear myself speak several seconds after I say the thing that I said. It's not at all confusing or disorienting. It's great.
Not at all. No, your tech is working perfectly fine. Don't doubt yourself.
That's good. Anyone who was here for the pre-show, you heard that unmistakable Roll20 chat beep, which I forgot to turn off. And somebody was testing spells. So if you heard a whoop during the intro, that's what that was. Technical issues aside, welcome. Hello, everyone. I'm going to need to begin by just saying, TK, you look amazing. Let's just begin there. Your hair looks great. You look super cool.
Thank you. This is the only use that I have for a cosmetology license.
Nice.
Because I certainly don't do other people's hair for money anymore. It's only my own hair for my own gratification.
That's exactly the same situation for me, but instead of a cosmetology degree, it's 8 years spent in advertising. The only thing I advertise now is my ass.
Nice. Yeah, I try to tell people, like, please don't bleach your hair to white. They're just trying to sell you bleach.
Mm-hmm.
My hair under this bright red is like a light brown, dark orange. But I know how to fill it to make sure that I like you can see my roots, and some of it is still black because I'm lazy. I know how to fill it to the point where when it fades, it's going to fade orange. And then, you just leave your semi-permanent dye on for 3 hours. And there you go. You got that vibrancy.
So
I just got to know how to do it.
I have a concern because my hair is very dark, and I was thinking about putting like a silver streak through it, and a little rogue-esque, or maybe like further down this, and I went and I talked to them, and they're like, "Your hair is too dark. It would definitely have to be something that you would bleach for it, and then we would get there."
Yeah, you have to lighten it.
Is it because of the color as well?
Yes, and also because like silver is a color that is more easily manufactured than brought in naturally, if that makes sense. And so most times whenever people do color their hair silver, what they're really doing is coloring it a light blonde and then toning it with a purple, because purple will neutralize the yellow tones. So as you are trying to do it, my advice, instead of just jumping in straight like, hey, that's, this is what's up, I'm gonna bleach my hair until it's like literally pulling off my head like wet spaghetti noodles, or cookie dough. Sometimes we call them cookie dough curls, where you could like just pull the curls apart and they would just like stretch like wet chewing gum.
That's not a good analogy. You don't want that on your head. No,
you don't want that. It's horrible. There was one woman who she came to the salon and she always did cap blonde, like she did blonde through a cap. And she was like, I want you to perm my hair. I'm getting it cut anyway, so I don't care how much of it falls off. And like my manager was like, hey, you have to do it. And I was like, I hate working here. And so I was pulling like whole rods with hair still on them off of her head
Is that a normal situation? Like if you work in a salon where like a customer will say, I want this thing that is either impossible or a bad idea, and you just have to do it?
No. So I worked in a franchise salon.
Yeah.
Where yes, you do have to do it, unless you think that it's like really, really bad for their hair or it's illegal.
Now I want to know about these illegal hair procedures.
Like,
pardon me.
Yeah, like
blood
parasites.
Is a great tinter.
Yeah,
all right?
human blood. For example, we cosmetologists in the state of Kentucky are not licensed with blood, so they cannot use a straight razor like barbers can.
Yeah.
So anybody who comes in for like a razor shave, we can't do that.
But like if you work in a tattoo parlor, it's a different license and you'd have to. Got it. Okay.
Yes. But only barbers can work in tattoo parlors. Cosmetologists cannot.
Right. Okay, sure. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
When
Which
you
also
describe it that way, it
barbers-
doesn't make
yeah.
sense, but I understand.
Yeah,
Okay.
but barbers can now do color. So there's kind of, they make more money than us, like way more money. So it's kind of like there's almost no reason to be a cosmetologist
Right. You just
because
want to become a barber
barbers
anyway.
can do almost everything that cosmetologists can.
That being said, I don't get my haircut from a barber because now that it's long,
Fair.
I don't trust them with
Yeah,
it just
fair.
because of
Yeah.
the
Yeah, a
training
lot
and the
of-
style.
Yeah. A lot of barbers don't have very strong scissor work, but now as we're getting into the newer generations, it's like a whole thing because men tend to like their hair longer, or they start to have more clients with longer hair, or women or femmes, and people are getting more into it. But yeah, so when you lighten it the first time, just lighten it up to like an orange, like an orangey warm yellow, and then go ahead and put like a deep purple over it.
Okay.
And then
I love deep purple.
yeah, put a deep purple over it. Then when your hair fades, it'll start to fade it more of a silvery. When it's time, in about 3 months, when it's time to lighten it again, use a color remover that is designed for semi-permanent dye. Do not bleach the color out. Just use a color remover a couple of times with no developer, and then lighten it once, and then put another purple over it, and you'll have silver in no time. It'll take you like 6 months probably.
So I was going to ask you to send this all in an email, and then I realized this is going to be uploaded to YouTube. So I will have access to this whenever I need it. Thank you.
Yes, yeah.
This is the thing, right? Is that
I'll put it in the notes.
I think that the kinds of things that people are interested in, or the kinds of things they get up to, whether it's like other work or hobbies or whatever outside of tabletop, they get drawn in. Like I guarantee that if you compared, like ignoring all other factors, if you compared my GMing and TK's GMing, I bet you TK gives better descriptions of hair than I do. Right? Like these kinds of things, like
only when necessary.
Yeah. But like it's totally a thing. You notice this where people, it's like they will linger on stuff, or they'll pay special attention to something because you can tell that they are interested in it outside that space, or they have some expertise. Right, like if you're playing a game with somebody who's an actual musician that plays a bard, they'll be like, yeah, like I play like a couple of minor chords and then I do like a major fifth, and you're like, no one else at the table knows what you're talking about, but that sounds very cool. So
yeah, that's really interesting to open up with minor chords and then into a major
yeah, and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Why would you? I want to know the reason that you would resolve it like that. Like, are you trying to?
And then not creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy, but then like a major fifth like is typically like a hopeful sound. So it's like you're going in like Phantom of the Opera, and then you get into like.
Yeah, and that
like
kind of stuff.
Type.
Like people ask me all the time, like, oh, how can I be like a better game master, a better dungeon master? Like, what should I do? What books should I read, or whatever? And I'm like, I don't know, just be an interesting person. Like, just go out into the world and like care about stuff and like do art, and like I don't know, like just because it'll just make you better. Like, find something else that you like doing and become a well-rounded person, and then just use that in your game.
Yeah. DM advice: be an interesting person.
Yeah, don't be
Adam
a big
Cobalt.
Don't be a boring normo. Yeah, like it's true though. Like
if you're wondering where all my like hip 60s lingo comes from, it's from doing comedy with seniors and learning. Yeah. No, really, like learning music from that age to like interact and connect with them. Like, yeah, like Nat King Cole, like really like a lot of those old sounds. They come out, and now you get Rook Slate, who enjoys his time listening to some smooth and sometimes crazy jazz. You know?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? Is that like it's like little things you don't really think about, but when your brain goes somewhere to find inspiration, you're gonna go looking for all the other stuff in your life, and if all you do is play role-playing games, then it's just a recursive loop. You can't draw from outside. Whereas otherwise, if you have other stuff going on, you're like, okay, well, I can grab from this other thing.
It's the same identity crisis, because I went to a somewhat theater school for college. It's the same crisis that every first day freshman had, where they came from high school being the theater kid.
Yes, yeah.
Man, and everyone was like, well, I'm the theater kid.
It's like, if you're the theater kid, who am I?
Yeah.
You know, cancels out the identity. And it's amazing how people have like sometimes nothing left.
Well,
And I'm
that's,
like,
I mean, I think
whoa.
that's a big identity crisis that like a lot of tabletop is having, I think, where because there are so many more people playing tabletop RPGs, there are people who are like, wait a second, D&D was my thing. That's the thing that I did. And now anyone can do it. And I feel threatened and weird. And it's like, it's okay. Just, you need
You're
to be
okay.
interesting. Go find other things to care about.
Bless. Read other books.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Unthinkable.
Go be a comedian, learn how to dye hair, be in a band,
Yeah.
be cool. That's
Those are
that's
the
all you
only
have to
things
do.
you can do. Those are the only options.
That's it.
Don't branch out too far.
Yeah, actually, don't do any of those things. Those are our things. You can't have those.
Yeah,
Find
you
something
can't.
else. Go become an archaeologist or something.
You can't do Dungeons and Dragons and hair and makeup.
You're not allowed.
There are a very set number of us in the D&D community that do that, and honestly, it's probably a few too many.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I love like learning about people through, and I don't know if this is anybody else's experience, but for me, like playing role-playing games with people is a really nice way for me to like get to know them in a constrained environment that doesn't feel like uncomfortable or awkward. Where like if I play games with people long enough, eventually I'm like, see, I've come to learn things about you through the games that we've played and through these pre-show conversations where we get to just kind of shoot the shit and like warm up. And it's really cool watching that stuff appear either in or out of character, right? Learning about somebody and being like, oh, you're talking about this because you know about this thing because you mentioned it the other day and now you're bringing in the like these things that you know. It's very cool.
Maybe it's all I know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Maybe
and that's
Delilah's based off of those mean old ladies that would come in before church.
well, so this is the thing, right? Is that I think a lot of people like bring in stuff from their real life. Like I remember watching Nadia, a friend of mine, GMing D&D, and she was playing she was running an encounter, and she was describing a hag and like how the hag acted and stuff. And I was like, I had never seen someone play a character like that before. And I asked her afterwards and she was like, this is my mom. Like I was just, I'm just doing my mom. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't read that because I am white and you are a black person and your mom is very different from my mom. And after I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, like I get it. You're bringing in people from your life. And the people that were around you as a kid are very different from the people that are around me. And so, of course, your DMing is totally different as a result. It's very cool. It's really cool seeing those little bits of personality come through when people make characters and play games like that. It's like my favorite thing.
With comedy, or I think any art, is that if you're only consuming one thing, you end up being derivative of that. And that like one, and not to say that there's not good thing, like it is good to watch your own art if you're like trying to make that art, but like I don't know, go to a museum, like go out and like consume like other things that are like interesting to you, because it's all one muscle that's just working.
Yeah. Well, and the more experiences you have, the more stuff that you see, the more you have to draw on, right? So instead of being like, I have to imagine what a mountain looks like, you can think about a mountain you actually saw, or you can think about a painting of a mountain and just describe that, right? It's much easier having a frame of reference.
Absolutely.
True.
For
Watch
sure.
a lot of Bob Ross.
I mean, yeah, like whatever works for you.
He's a blessing, or he was.
There's this this improv like short like mini doc thing called Trust Us, This Is All Made Up. Does anybody know what that is?
No, but I love it.
That sounds cool.
You're speaking right to me now.
Well, yeah.
Sell it, William. Sell it.
It's David Pasquazi and TJ something.
Yay!
I'm sorry, Pasquazi.
TJ
That's
and
awesome.
Dave. They're
TJ Dave, yeah.
they're the Sonic duo on all the Sonic commercials. Yeah.
Well,
Also-
no, I the only one of them is in it.
Okay.
The other one is someone else, and you would think it was the two of them, but it's not.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. But they but they're an improv partners, like duo partners, and they do 2-person improv, and they have this documentary called Trust Us, This Is All Made Up, where it like goes through their day of like how they prepare to do a show, because they don't do them like super often because they're both pretty busy. But it goes through that. They have a book as well that I can't remember what it's called right now, but I read it in college, and the opening for it was just like this long quote from, I think, Dave, who basically said, like, summed up a lot of what y'all are talking about right now, which was like they said they get asked all the time, like, how do you become a good improviser? And their response is always like fall in love get your heart broken, ride a bicycle, like that kind of thing. Like go out and like actually experience things so that you can bring them on stage instead of just like doing, like you can drill improv exercises and stuff like that, and that to like help internalize those sort of things and like make it habitual. But the things that are actually going to make your improv or your artwork or anything engaging and interesting and personal are the things that you do outside of all of the exercises and all of that work. So it's like exactly like what you're talking about.
Absolutely. And so Trust Us, It's All Made Up is the name.
Trust Us, This Is All Made Up.
This Is All Made Up. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad that this is also on YouTube. I will find it and I will have this access. Because TJ and Dave are like kind of treated, especially here in Chicago, as like, if you're gonna see 2-person improv, that's the best duo to see it, because they've also been doing it for so long. Like there are other like they are Chicago improv legends.
Yeah, no, yes, that's the whole sentence. They're very
They're yes. Yeah, they're legend. I mean, I'm from Minnesota, and they were in the improv scene there. They're also like pretty legendary. So
Wow.
It's really interesting seeing people, because I think improv is it's like a pretty common place for people who are getting into tabletop to draw from. Like a lot of people will be like, you know, like read about improv or learn some improv, and there are some differences, but there's a lot that it can teach you about, like just engaging with a narrative and just accepting, like being, not being skeptical, being like, yep, this is what's happening. I'm gonna be in it and do the thing. More than any of the other practices, it's that like open-mindedness that I like about playing with people who have improv backgrounds, where you can do a thing and they're just like, yep, we're gonna make this happen, right? Like I'm gonna go along with you on this ride, and that's really cool. It's neat seeing that. Yeah. So there you go. I guess that's the lesson. If you want to be good at role-playing games, go find hobbies. Go watch movies. Go to the theater. Take an improv class. It'll help.
But not in Chicago. Don't you dare move to my city. I'm running shop here. All right,
There's already 3 of you up there.
There are so many tabletop people in Chicago. It's like
I'm moving out of Kentucky, so Kentucky's about to be wide open, y'all.
Yeah, get on that brand.
We just voted out Bevan. Things are going great.
You're selling it really well.
Yeah,
I'm leaving, but you should come.
Yeah, 2 businesses that are like on the main thoroughfare just closed on the same day yesterday, completely unrelated.
You're describing the tabletop scene like it's a game of Vampire the Masquerade. Like if you come to Kentucky, you have to go before the Prince of Tabletop and bend the knee.
Yeah, you do. It's awesome. We are number 3 for welfare states in the US, so not the worst. Yeah, totally move here.
Today's episode brought to you by Improv and the state of Kentucky.
The Commonwealth of Kentucky.
I don't think anybody's had a tourism board sponsorship yet. So, go ahead and just reach out to the state of Kentucky Tourism Board.
Yeah.
The plane of Eberron is sponsoring us.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. Yeah.
In fact, Kentucky very much like Eberron in that when you move from one place in Kentucky to another place in Kentucky, the laws completely change. It's great. That's what a Commonwealth is like.
I like it. It's good. That's nice. Finding analogies between Eberron and Kentucky.
Dominic, that is untrue. The chicken is passing at best.
Yeah,
Nashville has better chicken.
Despite what you might think.
Now, contractually, you do have to mention Kentucky 3 more times in the episode.
I'm saving it.
Yeah, you gotta spread it out.
Talk about a movie that's not going to come to my theaters. Then we'll
Kentucky,
see.
where you can live happily without being bothered by such things as new releases.
Yeah.
How dare they?
Especially if there's a brown lead.
I don't like it when those new movies come to town. Yep. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, let's play some Dungeons and Dragons, shall we? I know that imagining the fantasy kingdom of Kentucky is cool and everything, but Eberron awaits.
Everything's probably cool when you live on the moon or Canada.
Yes, Canada and the moon are the same thing. Little known fact. Yeah. Yeah. So I updated a few things about everybody's character sheets. So Bruno, your character sheet should now reflect your new, stronger bonus knuckle dusters. I think I got the damage die correct. I also updated your crit range and gave you that feat you were looking for. And then Delilah, you have a weapon attack now for your gun, your little 2d8
Pew,
force
pew,
blaster.
Pew, pew, pew.
Vic, did you pick the ritual spells you want?
Hell yeah, I did.
I couldn't find the part in the VOD where I assigned them to you, so it doesn't matter. You can just pick them. Which ones did you take?
I picked Detect Magic and Unseen Servant.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Both excellent choices. Good stuff. And I think also for Delilah, you have Wizard Initiate, right?
Yes. Did you add spells or do I need to?
I didn't add spells for you. No, I wanted to give you.
Cool.
I'm gonna let you pick that.
How do I do that?
I think that you can drag and drop the spell from the compendium just onto your character sheet.
Oh, hecky.
So if you have your character sheet open but not popped out, and then you search the compendium for the name of a spell, you should be able to drag and drop it. When you pick it up from the compendium, your character sheet will say accepting drop from the compendium. If you can
Cheeto.
If you can drag and drop it, you should be able to.
Okay, so 2 cantrips and 1 first level.
I think that's how it works. Yeah.
Cheeto.
Yeah.
It's so convenient.
Because God knows all you needed was more spells to be able to choose from.
Yes, I did.
Yes, fair. More spells.
You think I'm gonna use guidance?
Yeah, I'm actually. So I'm playing in a one shot this weekend, and I think I'm gonna play an artificer. And so making Delilah was my like warm up. I understand now. I'm also making an artillerist. I think so.
Nice.
I was jealous of your thunder waving and your shooting things with your magic gun.
Hecky, yeah. What? I can do acid arrow? What the hecky? Let me see if I can do that. Actually, I'm sorry. Please continue. I'm going to mute myself while I pick a few spells.
Okay, yeah. So take a look at your spells. So I think when we begin this episode, at the end of the last one, we saw the group of you. You were in Rook's office. Delilah and Vic had just arrived from the train station, and you were all here to discuss what is to be done. What is to be done about the Night Street gang, who are your mutual enemies. Now, some of you are old friends. Some of you only barely know each other, mostly by reputation. But you all have the baby and his halfling gangsters to blame for your sad, sore, misbegotten circumstances. And so I think you've all got together at Rook's office to kind of talk about like what are we gonna do about this, and the door to your office bursts open. And now this is maybe a surprise to 3 of the 4 of you, but one of you has a contact. You have a snitch or a rat or however else you want to put it in the Night Street gang. Which of you has this informant? Whose informant is this? I'm gonna leave it up to you. It doesn't matter to me.
It could be Bruno's.
Yeah, it's an old friend of Bruno's. Okay,
That might make the most sense. Yeah.
sure. Okay, all right. So the informant. Okay, and so how do you know this person? Like what role? Because you were like basically you weren't in the gang, I don't think, but you certainly worked for them. How did you get to know this person?
We were old sparring buddies.
Ah, okay, cool. All right. Do you have any other like details about this person that you think are salient? Like they owe you a favor and you've called it in. They're here to bring you some information about the gang. But are they like? Do you think is this person in pretty deep with the Night Street gang, or like why did they turn rat? Why are they snitching for you?
I certainly protected them from some. I think they owed someone money, and a while ago, and at some point while I was still in like the heat of my career, I was strong arming people into leaving them alone. So.
Right. So they owed money outside of the gang, and you helped them deal with that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Probably owed money in a way that would get them in trouble with their gang.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Like if you need money, you should come to us. And now you've made a weakness in our organization by like going outside of it. Okay, so they had to keep that secret. So you have that secret too, like that you know that they did this thing. And okay, all right. Let me get my random name generator. Let's give this person a name. I'm gonna call. Actually, you know what? I have a good name for them. I'm gonna call him Sully.
Mm-hmm.
So his name is Sully, and he's a human, and he stayed in the gang, but has been, I think maybe like looking for a way to get out. So is Sully's help you calling on a favor to like even the odds, or is it like you help me and I'll help get you out of the gang, Sully?
I'm not gonna help Sully get out of the game.
Yeah, so this is Sully paying you back. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I imagine Sully as like the kind of like he's kind of like a dumpy kind of dude. He's well past whatever his prime as a gangster was. When he comes in, he's soaking wet. He probably doesn't even own like a proper umbrella. He's got his hat in his hands, and his quickly thinning hair is all like pasted down on his face, and he's kind of like wiping it out of his eyes as he comes in. He's got a pair of glasses on the end of his nose that are all fogged up from the condensation. But under one arm, he's carrying a package of some kind. And Rook, the door opens to your office and you see this sodden man. Do you say anything to him? Like, because it's your office. You see the stranger come in.
Hey, Daddy-o, this is a private meeting. You can take a number at the back.
Bruno will put a hand up towards Rook and be like, no, don't. This is an informant of mine. He's in the gang. It's good. Okay, hold on, really quick. Were you following me or something to find out that I was at Rook's office? Like, what's going on here?
And when you say that, when you're like informant, he nervously like shifts back and forth. One of his shoes has water in it, and so it squeaks slightly when he steps. And he says, but Bruno, but why informant's such a strong word? Can't we just say we're old pals? I mean, it's true, isn't it?
Good point. No, this is my rat.
God, you know I don't like that word, Bruno. You're making me nervous.
Snitch.
It's not getting better. Listen, and he leans back and he pulls the door closed. He turns around, pulls the door closed, and he says, I mean, yeah, right, exactly. This is the kind of person voted most likely to secretly be a were-rat. So he pulls the door shut, and he says now, sort of to the group of you, he says, no, I wasn't following you, Bruno. It's just, I hear things, and I heard that Delilah DeCanth was back in town, and he turns to you, Delilah, and he gives you like a little bow, and he's like, "Lady, excuse me, sorry." Like, you're not sure what he's apologizing for exactly, but he's being very deferential. And he turns back and he says, "So I asked around, and one of my boys said that there was some kind of a meeting going down here at Rook's. So I thought I'd stop by. I brought you something." And he holds out this packet. It's wrapped in slightly sodden like paper now.
I'll grab it from him.
Okay. So yeah, you take it. It's like fairly heavy. It's like squarish, maybe like 1.5 feet to a side, maybe 3 or 4 inches thick. Yeah, it's got some heft to it. And he hands it over. And he says, I'm gonna need that back when you're done looking at it. I got to get it back before they realize it's gone. I just figured if Delilah was back and everybody was getting together, this was a meeting I didn't want to miss on account of what we talked about before, Bruno, about me owing you and everything. I wanted to see if I could square that away. The wife's been bothering me about it, and I've been losing sleep, and I got to take care of my kids, and I can't.
Okay, yeah. We know.
And he kind of is just like, so, I hope this is enough to, like he's very, there's a lot of hand wringing and kind of looking at the floor and yeah.
Can I have walked behind him and shut the door throughout this entire interaction?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're now standing behind him. Mm-hmm.
In between him and the door, yeah.
Yeah. So he looks at you and he says, nice office you got here, Mr. Slade.
It's a pretty nice digs, but you're tracking mud all over it.
Shucks. I'm sorry, Mr. Slade. I could just wait outside if
it's not
this guy
your shoes.
He kind of looks at you like I don't. I'm sorry. It was raining outside. I had to walk all the way over here from the apartment.
All right, calm down. And Bruno is going to unwrap whatever this is.
Okay. All right, yeah. So you undo the string and take the paper off. It's a book. First of all, like a ledger of some kind, maybe. It's not. It's laid out in a different format. So when you open it, you see all these like lines and what to you at a glance look like scribbles, basically. But it's clear this is a record of some kind. But I don't think necessarily you've ever seen anything like it before.
Hey. Does this look like anything to anybody?
Can I do an insight check on it?
Yeah, it'd be investigation. Okay. I think if you wanna examine it. Nice, excellent, living up to your name, investigation unit. So you get a 21. So you, Rook, it'll take you a second. You sit down at your desk and start kind of going through it. So while that's happening,
analyzing every page, rifling through it.
Yeah, totally. Delilah, you notice that Sully is, and I think Vic, you noticed too, Sully is staring at you. He's trying to make it seem like he's not, but he definitely is.
I am sort of moving between their line of sight. I sort of interrupt it. Just casually, very casual like. And I'm just like empty, just stare. I kind of like to imagine I have no idea whether or not it's canon. Love talking about that in the D&D world, but I think it's really cool like changelings just like don't have pupils at all when they're in sort of like their natural state, so just sort of just like empty, just like
yeah, it would be very unnerving, right?
Empty eye sockets. I love it.
And that's part of the thing is that changelings, like you adapt other people's forms to make them more comfortable like interacting with you too, because yeah, I think you're right. I think there's something kind of creepy about natural form changeling. And so, yeah, you do that. You're that gif, right? Where you lean into frame, like, stop it. Stop looking at her. And
yeah, Delilah just like doesn't register it at all. Like, yes, they notice that he is staring, but everyone stares at me and will sort of tap their cigarette holder against the ashtray again, take a long drag.
Yeah, Vic, are you trying to intimidate Sully?
Yes.
Would you like to roll?
Yes. Oh my god, my intimidation score's insane.
I'm scared of this. My tiny enforcer.
One of my favorite things about playing games with pre-gens is watching people discover their character. Be like, oh yeah, wait a second, I'm amazing.
This is someone who actually knows how to do ability scores. It's like, wait, there are no negatives? How did this happen?
Big wind up. Big wind up. One right across the plate. Just straight across the plate. For those of you listening to the podcast version of this episode, Katie May rolled a big old 1. That +6 isn't going to do you any good today, Vic. So
it tracks across universes. It's still
yeah,
tracks.
Exactly.
God damn it.
So
reminder that we are a comedy podcast.
So Vic, the thing is that as you lean in to try to intimidate Sully, that changeling neutrality, it impedes you getting your point across, right? Where instead of being intimidating, you're just alien and confusing. And Sully, like, he looks at you, you get into his frame of view, and he like looks down and he tries to change the subject. So he turns to Rook, who's obviously in the middle of reading something. And he's like, Mr. Slade, you you mind if I smoke in here? Is that? And while he's while he's talking to you, he's digging through his pockets looking for his cigarettes.
Could I like automatically respond while he's doing it?
Yeah,
because I've really he's a member of the Shark Street gang.
He is,
yes, currently.
Sully
part of the reason why I'm no longer a police officer is because of
people like Sully. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh wait, is he Shark Street or Night Street? Wait,
he's part of the Night Street gang. Yep.
Night Street.
Okay.
Okay. And yeah, so Rook's like the trash Sully that you are, you can smoke outside.
So when you say that, the camera pans over to him, and he's managed to fish his cigarettes out, but they're all soaked. Like he opens his dented cigarette case, and water drips out of it onto the floor. Mm-hmm. And he looks at you, he's like, don't worry about it, Mr. Slade. And he closes the cigarette case and tucks it back into his pocket. And you get the impression, looking at Sully at a glance, that based on his behavior, even were it not raining outside, he would probably still be just about as damp. He just seems like a damp guy. And so, yeah, he just looks back at you and then looks at the floor like, I can't wait to get out of here. And so Rook, with that 21, it's clear to you very quickly that this is a ledger of some kind. It is recording the coming and going of gold pieces. Now, much of it is in code, but you can pick up several patterns. You can see that there is money moving around from several businesses, and it looks to you at a glance, using your investigative skills, that Sully has brought you a lead on basically 3 opportunities to go after the Night Street gang. It looks like they have three businesses right now that if you were to go after any one of them, it would be a fairly serious blow to the gang. So from what you can see, it looks like the Night Street gang has purchased and is operating. They have their vault. It's an old library they took as part of their turf grab, and it's pretty heavily guarded. But that's where most of the money goes, right? You're watching it go from these other businesses and end up at this library location. There are a lot of drops that are checked off, right? So it looks like that's where the Night Street gang is keeping their money, in this like library vault, right? You also see that it looks like they're operating an unlicensed arcane workshop. So a lot of the money coming in is from illicit magic items, selling like, I don't know, male enhancement potions. Like, you know, they've employed the practices of the Archmage Cialis. They have this illegal arcane workshop.
The enlarge spell.
It is, yes. It's a very specific version of the enlarged spell available in potion form. And so they have this essentially, this illegal magic items racket that they're doing. So there's a workshop where they're doing that. And then lastly, they own a nightclub. They own a small. I was gonna say it's a small nightclub, but they're halflings, so of course it is. They own a nightclub that they have recently reopened under a new name called the Polished Pram, and this is a business that has recently come under their care, and it seems to be that's where they do a lot of their like money laundering. Like it's supposed to be like a legitimate business. So they have this club, and they're all within the neighborhood that you are currently in. They're all in the Night Street neighborhood, and they all seem like they would be equally good opportunities to take a shot at the gang. And so we see you kind of absorbing this information. When you look up, Sully says, but not to you, to Bruno. Sully says, "So did I do good? I know that book's real important, and I gotta be getting it back, but It's good, right? It's helpful."
I don't know, Rook.
It pains me to say it, but Sully, you did great. This is wonderful. And I relay all the information back to everyone about like the 3 sort of spots, and then Rook takes like is like sort of analytical when describing the library and describing the magic, like the arcane workshop.
Mhm.
Then getting to a nightclub happens, and like his voice shifts. And I bet there'd be a live band that's really kicking it. So I'll be honest. Let's hit it up first, and then have a grand old evening.
For those of you who are watching at home, if you'd like to start placing bets as to whether the PCs will be dressing up as a jazz band or the janitors of the club, text janitor to 555-6.
Oh, that's predictable. How dare you?
Delilah would not be caught dead in a jumpsuit. So.
No, you've been wearing one for like what, 20 years in the past?
Yeah, that's true. It's all right. Neon orange is Delilah's color.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah,
That was
so
a threat.
See if I cure your wounds again.
Bruno is gonna like go up to Sully, like a little intimidatingly, and just be like, okay, no, I do have a couple of questions before we let you go and leave with this book or whatever you gave us. My first question is, so you have a snitch for your snitch self that told you about this meeting. Lucky you that Delilah and us were all here. I do have a question though. So do other people know that Delilah and us are having this meeting?
And he nods nervously, and he says, old Sully's not the best connected guy in the neighborhood. So if I know about it, it's a pretty good bet the baby knows about it too. I know he was keeping tabs on Mr. Kenneth's coming out of prison and everything. So yeah, it's a good. You think we're in danger, Bruno? Cause I can't be in danger, Bruno. I got a wife and kids. Little Sarah's, she's almost 4 years old now.
Hey, when you came here, you looked like in a hurry. You were just running around. Did you think to maybe like be a little inconspicuous about getting over here, or did you just show up?
Oh, you know me, Bruno. Inconspicuous is my middle name.
Okay.
He definitely didn't. He definitely just came straight here without thinking about any of that.
Wait, is that
I want to roll
a
insight
lie?
to give a shit about this guy's kids.
You don't even need to make an insight check. The DC on this insight check would be so low that everyone in the room can immediately tell, except for maybe Vic, who just based on the way you roll dice might flub it. But I'm not going to make anybody roll. I'm just it's clear that he had no idea. He just wanted to get here, and the only thing that really matters to Sully right now is getting out from under your thumb, Bruno, and then maybe getting in good. If there's going to be a power shift and Delilah DeCanneth is going to take over the neighborhood, he wants to make sure he's on that team instead of one of the casualties of whatever's to come.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'll go back and I'll grab the ledger from Rook if Rook is cool with that.
Yeah.
And I bring it back over to Sully, and I just hand it back to him and say, take this back. Make sure that there isn't like a trail back to us as easy as possible. And you know what? You did really good, Sully. You did really good. I think honestly, like, debt's repaid. Don't worry about it at all anymore. Really appreciate it. And in fact, when things go south in a certain direction for a certain group of people, I could maybe think about, getting you somewhere if you want.
And he nods, and he's like, yeah. I just wanted to make good, Bruno. I know I owe you from before. I thought this might help. And if there's any room in your organization, Lady DeCanneth, it would be my blessing and honor to assist you. I'm a very hardworking individual. Just ask anybody. And he like looks at Bruno like, huh, right? Like, tell her.
Okay,
Delilah,
get out of here.
Yeah, Delilah looks at him before he goes, and then looks to Vic and says,
I unsheath my blade.
Vic,
Vic is such a fucking gremlin. Like, I just imagine like everyone else having a conversation, and then we turn to Vic, and Vic is just like holding a knife, like, what's going on? Who wants to get stabbed?
Katie and I decided to change characters
swapped.
for this miniseries.
Perfect.
Yeah. Delilah will look at Vic and say, Vic, will you please make a note in my red book?
Yes, I shall. Is there an actual red book? I need to
Yes.
know. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Oh
the
my-
red book is for people to be eliminated later.
Yep.
Yeah, how large is it? How big is this book? How large are we
It's
talking?
small. It's like a little address book.
Is there
Yeah.
a lock on the cover? Or is it just out in the open? Is it like a little diary that you have to unlock?
Yeah,
with
it'd
the
be like a little diary. You have the key.
I wear it around my neck on a neck.
Yeah, you know that this is my burn book. Delilah can't have anybody who has any loyalty to anyone but them. So,
Someday Vic will open the book and find a page that says Vic is an ugly biatch and do not trust them.
it's on like page 1. And Vic's like, I'm on the first page.
I've made it.
Orbital starts to play. We get a crane shot out. It's all very tragic.
So good. It'll be so good. Yes, I make a very dramatic unlocking of pulling the thing from around my neck and unlocking the book. And then I guess now I have a quill behind my ear. That's just something that's been here this whole time.
Sure.
And then I
Or maybe the key, like the little handle pops open and it's a pen.
Whoa.
I like it.
What
Right,
if
well, because
you're-
you make gadgets. That's your thing, right? Like, yes, mostly your gadgets are meant to
Yeah.
kill people and blow stuff up, but like
yeah.
making weird objects into other objects is totally like a thing that I imagine artificers do just for fun.
Well, and I like to think that Delilah's like front business was like a Claire's.
Yeah.
Where it's just like for your diary and things like that, where it's like,
I'm just
very like
imagining.
Martha Stewart, where
I'm
it's
just
like,
imagining Delilah's enemies being dragged in and being forced to get their ears pierced with a gun, and they're like, "No, don't do it, Delilah!" And you're like, "Give them the gun," and they're just like, "No!" A little heart-shaped stud in their ear.
yes, yes, except the zinc alloy.
So Sully, no, he knows when it's time. You give him the book back right now that you've absorbed it into your memory, Rook. So you hand it to Sully, and he wraps it back up under his sodden coat, pressed up against his sweaty side, and he says to you before he goes, Bruno, he looks at you and he says, The wife wanted me to ask if you were gonna be coming to dinner for Baker's night next week. She's gonna buy a cake. It's gonna be a whole thing.
Of course I'll be there.
And he nods. And he says, "Great. She's gonna be so happy. I'll let her know. Mr. Slade, sorry about the puddle. Lady DeCannon, I'm gonna go." And he turns around. And you're still standing in his way, right, Rook? So he turns around like, I'm going to go. Do you get out of the way or?
I open the door for him.
Okay. All right.
Saying nothing, but like also just like, I think at this mode, like Rook not talking is creepier than him talking too much. Because then it's just a moment of like truly, and that like analyzing his entire matter. Because at this point, he's deciding not to just kill Vic.
Or Sully, yeah.
Yeah, not to just kill Sully. Sorry, I was for a moment I thought Vic was going to have a competing lackey off, and I was running. That's the notion.
I'm ready at a moment's notice.
No, but yeah, just silently opens the door and then shuts it behind them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As soon as Sully is like out of the room, I do want to turn to everyone else and be like, "We're gonna kill that snitch, right? Like that's the plan."
Oh, I'm so glad you said something. How weird to announce it, but yes, that turkey's about to get roasted.
This is the part where somebody just pushes an anvil out the window and we hear a crash and a scream.
And then Sully's like, "Wow, that was a close call."
Yeah, it's like Bruno's gonna be bringing a casserole to Baker's Day for the funeral. Yeah, I can't believe that these characters are much better like bad guys than our other actual bad guy characters.
It's noir, baby. There are no good guys.
That's right. So gray. So Sully has scrambled away into the night, but like obviously Bruno, you know where he lives, and you know there's lots of Bruno is a man who is much closer to being dead than he thinks at any given moment. So it's not too hard to imagine a situation where you could push him over the edge to there. But for now, he has escaped this interaction with his life, and he's thinking like, you know, things are coming up Sully, right? Like he's made good on his debt to Bruno. He thinks he made a good impression on the Lady DeCanneth. Things are turning over a new leaf for this guy, but he's still a snitch. He's still a rat. So yeah. So Rook, you've shared with everybody this information that there are these sort of three opportunities to go after the gang. What do you think? Which one sounds like a good priority?
As Masood, I think probably the vault at the library would be the biggest hit for them. Probably, right? Like,
yeah, and taking a step back from like a campaign perspective, whichever one you pick will be like interesting and fun and significant. It's not like you're gonna get there and I'll be like, cool, well, nothing's really going on. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to pick kind of where you want to show down with the gang. But yeah, it's like tonally they'll be very different, right? Like it's like, do you bust up their drug warehouse? Do you hit them at their vault, or do you go to the nightclub and have a big John Wick style nightclub shootout with the gang, right? So it's basically just like whatever scene y'all want to do. Those are the kind of the three main businesses that they have going on right now.
I am leaning toward nightclub.
Yes, I will always defer to what Delilah chooses, but I do say I think nothing would be more sublime than having Delilah announce their return at a club on this eve.
I mean, I if I'm being honest, I don't feel like I'm going to be really comfortable wherever we go. I haven't stepped foot in a library in a really long time. That sounds like a nightmare. As far as a nightclub is concerned, I don't go there. Too many people, too many faces. But if everybody else wants to do something there, I guess I could put on a hat. I don't know.
Well, and God, imagine like Bruno, you have this like long history of like late nights in celebration out at these exact kinds of clubs, right? Surrounded by beautiful people and expensive champagne, listening to the best music in the company of an up and coming gang, and like you're their star fighter. And now that life is behind you, right? So
yeah, I can't even go out anymore.
Yeah. You have to hide your face. Yep.
If we go tomorrow night, Sank Fronata will be playing, and it's gonna be a real happening time.
Is Mean Dotton gonna be there too?
Oh no, yeah. It's gonna be good. Dino Martino actually will be around.
Yeah, the thing about Dino Martino is that he's an actual dinosaur.
Because it's Eberron. Yeah.
And you know what? Like all of these names work for like crooner names.
Yeah. No, I think the entire Pat rack is gonna be there.
Oh, absolutely.
I hate it, but I also love it. Yeah. Delilah will slowly stand, and I like to think that Delilah is rather tall for their age, which is rather advanced. Probably 6'1", and straight shouldered, wearing, of course, their pinstriped glittery suit, and just sort of like kicks their chin up a little. I suppose I could stand to be seen in public. Vic,
Yes.
we must go shopping. Debut tonight.
I spent the rest of my money before you came back on a whole new wardrobe that I thought would be suitable for the times for you since you've been gone. All of my money, the last of it, completely in the most beautiful wardrobe you've ever seen.
Fantastic. And Delilah is going to look at Rook and Bruno. Is this what you're wearing?
I mean, is it bad? What? I was thinking this in a hat. Is that not good?
What is Bruno wearing? Forgot. Is it the same as the train?
Yeah, well, it's the same as the train, except the coat isn't torn up at all.
Oh
And
no.
like the pants aren't torn up at all or anything.
I was gonna say, you know Balrog from Street Fighter? It's like that. Got a pair of silk shorts, some big gloves. I'm dressed like strong bad.
Delilah will set like a very like delicate hand on Bruno's shoulder, and it's bad. Change it once, and then look at Rook.
Rook goes to their closet, and I was looking at some stuff about the Warforged, and there's one, I think it might have been from a previous edition, but like it's like a mask version, or like they're describing it as having like an integrated weapon or design. And I think for Rook, because their investigative unit, what has become is a rotating faceplate.
Oh, cool.
Like different sort of presentations.
I like
and
it.
So they're all very close to what they look like, but it rotates to one with just like a thin mustache.
Oh my god!
Excellent.
Yeah, it's very like Gomez Adams.
Activating incognito mode.
And then he goes. They go to the closet, open it up, and pull out. Because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of this is inspired from Fallout 4, like a silver shroud outfit, and like put it with like a nice like little like scarf around the neck and a pinstripe hat, and it's like, oh, we're going to the jazz club, baby.
I love the idea that like as a Warforged, they can't like change their shoulder sides really a lot or anything, and so all of their suits are zoot suits.
Like, yeah, oh, absolutely.
Are like the zoot suits.
Unless you're dressed like Kim Kardashian.
Like the big, yes.
That's right. I read the internet.
References.
You have to get interesting to be good at Dungeons and Dragons.
That's right.
Katie, your grandpa's did it.
It was so proud.
It's great.
Where's my Werther's?
Oh man, what were we talking about?
Kanye West, I think. Okay, so you have incognito mode, which is like a different outfit and a mustache, which is good. Yeah.
Yes. Now we need to make sure that we have something presentable for Bruno.
I have a whole sort of disguise closet, which I realize now both of my characters have.
Yep.
If it ain't broke,
Don't fix it. And I'm sure that I'd be able to find something more worthy in there if Delilah, you would like to take a look and see if anything is up to snuff.
Oh my gosh, yes. And because we're on the run and we can't go to like apartments or anything, can I please say that we have like a briefcase that we had brought in?
Yeah,
and then we just hit like a hydraulic pedal and it bloop, 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 bloop,
Vic,
out.
Yeah, Vic, you have like a disguise kit. So it's absolutely, and I love the idea that, so like Delilah, did you make this box? Yeah. So
for my Claire's, it's my breakdown changing rooms.
So yeah, when you step on it, it goes from a chest to like a full, like it folds out and extends and stands up. It's got a little vanity built into it.
Yes.
Little stool pops out and it's got makeup and like costume pieces and stuff.
Yeah. And there's like, and then I hit like I press the pump a couple more times and it's a little rusty. I haven't used it in 3 years. And then you hear like the dulcet, like jazz Mariah Carey music.
It has a built-in sound system. I love it. A little wax cylinder rotating on once.
It's Dungeons and Dragons. I do what I fucking
love
want.
Rook slowly closes their closet because they were going to offer an outfit, but it's not going to compare.
Just slide it back into the shelf. Okay. All right. So
and before Delilah got back, Vic definitely like took the time to update this to the best of Vic's fashion abilities. What is like good with the times, because I'd rather die than Delilah not look fresh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Delilah will still like wrinkle their nose a little bit going through it, but they definitely approve.
I'm like not breathing. I'm so nervous.
Be like, a little drab, but I suppose it'll do for one night.
What are these 2017 Yeezys? Get out of here. So Vic, I guess does anybody else have the disguise kit skill? Is anybody skilled in disguise kit?
I don't know.
I have
Or is
a
this-
forgery, but that's not the same.
Yeah, if you need to forge
Disguise
like
and forgery.
fake identities.
I
for
need to
these.
forge my
Right.
entire being.
Yeah.
Oh, I have jeweler's tools.
Oh, that's actually
yes.
that's a good idea to maybe forge some if they ask for like identification on the way in or something.
Mhm. Yeah.
I do have a disguise kit.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So
Is
Vic,
it the hat?
It's a hat that has glasses and a nose attached to it.
The Groucho Marx.
yeah, I put on my Groucho Marx
Perfect.
disguise. Yeah, good.
You can see the wires and it like swings back and forth.
I have a face like that, and it like rotates
Yeah,
real fast.
So Vic and Bruno, you can work together to disguise. Now, Vic? Is this just a Bruno makeover? Is this the scene from Beauty and the Beast where they try to make the Beast look like presentable, or are you going to disguise everybody else too?
Well, I guess that's sort of Delilah's sort of thing. Are you wanting to make a statement? Are you wanting to go incognito? What are you sort of feeling?
Vic, you know my entire existence is a statement. Let's live it up tonight.
I hope that was what you were going to say. Yes.
Vic just running around with a measuring tape.
Yeah.
Whatever
exactly it.
adventure you guys had planned,
It's just
this
a-
is it now.
This is it. I want a montage
Get
of
with it.
outfits now.
Yeah, it's clearly, we can't, despite the fact that it's not at all a film noir tradition, we have to have the 80s pre-prom, Bruno comes out of the dressing room wearing one outfit, goes away, comes back, throw in some novelty outfits.
Yes.
Get Bruno in a nurse's uniform.
Yes.
Bruno dressed like a clown.
This is the mask.
Delilah
like-
doing the thumbs up and the thumbs down. Yeah.
Yeah. And Delilah will thumbs down all of them, but with slight hesitation on some of them. So
And for,
you know.
and
that
for
they
some
actually
reason,
like it.
for some reason, Vic is played by Nathan Lane in this scene.
Yeah.
So,
Rook was playing aha from their chest throughout the entire moment.
perfect. Good.
Well, Vic could just changeling into.
Nathan Lane. Yeah, literally. Just
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
with a greasy middle part.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so what is your talk to me about your intent here, Vic? Do you want to make Bruno look just like anyone who isn't Bruno, or is there a specific thing you're going for?
No, if Delilah's going to make a statement, that I'm going for people who look cool enough to be associated with Delilah.
Ah, so you're gonna
That's-
dress everybody up to look like. Okay. And so what's the vibe? Is it going to be a noble and her rich friends? Is it going to be dangerous criminals? What kind of vibe are you putting out with this outfit?
Yeah. But does the words Black Widow work for you? But not adventure style, but just the concept.
Right, so
A
everybody-
femme fatale.
Yeah, I was saying
Yes.
everybody is dressed up like award-winning.
Every single one of us is a femme fatale.
Yeah, everybody's dressed up like award-winning Asian actress Scarlett Johansson.
I
you say
swear
Asian-
to God,
did you say
Adam,
Asian
I will
actress?
quit right now. I will quit.
It almost
this
said, really almost slipped out of the radar. I was like, hold on. I want to make sure that we can all cancel Adam together.
Well, because you said award-winning Asian actress, and I was like, "Oh hell yeah, it's gonna be either Lucy Liu or Zhang Ziyi."
Yeah, Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, like Lucy Liu from Charlie's Angels. That
Yes.
specific. And then you said Scarlett Johansson. I swear to God.
Yeah, so I mean, yes, you can all be them fatales if you like. That's a way
Yes,
to do it,
them
right?
fatales.
Where everyone is just really kind of intimidating and alluring. I'm down for that if it's just we all just want to look as cool as possible. Because I think the angle there would be mysterious strangers, right? I guess
Hot and dangerous.
yeah. How do you want? You can give me some flavor, basically. How do you want the average person who sees you to react? What do you want them to think and feel?
I want them to be okay with robbing a bank with us if we ask them. And if we turned over and said, I have to kill you now, they will gladly put the gun to their own head.
I'm hearing horny, scared, and devoted.
Yes.
So you just want everyone to be Vic.
horny and scared.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Just
Yes.
desperate to please you and terrified all the time.
That's my specialty.
Okay. All right. So Vic understands this. It's like, how can I make everyone make me feel like Delilah makes me feel every day? Good. You have some personal connection to that.
My fashions are a love letter at this point to Delilah themselves.
And Delilah will continue to leave you on red, but appreciate it.
But Vic likes it. It's fine. Okay. So let me make a note here. So disguise as I love that you're literally Dungeons and Dragons player characters, which are the most dangerous, like badass things that exist in the universe, but you're disguising yourselves as cooler versions of that.
Yeah.
Adventurers are boring. You know what's cool? Influencers. All right.
Yes.
Good stuff. Good. Okay. All right. So let's have you make that roll. So Vic, it sounds like you're doing the primary job. Bruno, how are you helping? What is Bruno's role in this? Because Vic falls into this role naturally. Vic does this for themselves all the time, and it's just doing this for other people. But for Bruno, what's your contribution to Operation Makeover?
Yeah, I think as far as Bruno is concerned, since Delilah kind of wants to make a scene as themselves and like show up, and also Rook can handle a disguise on their own, and Vic can changeling. Bruno's gonna really focus on themselves right now. Just I think predominantly trying to get the what the difference is going to be. It's not a disguise kit in the sense of like I'm going to change my appearance so much as like I'm going to be taking the time to like reshape like how I walk and how I'm like holding myself, so it's not because I've looked and felt when I walk into a room a specific way for my entire life, and now and people expect that and have been around me enough to know like what I look like just from my like shoulders, my stature, that kind of thing. So this is more going to be like an internal disguise kit kind of thing, you know?
Right. I like it. Well, and it's easy to forget too that like Bruno is both a fighter and a professional, like a show fighter, like a boxer who fights for an audience or did. And so you have a sense of like those kinds of things, like the way you move and how to use your body to convey things. Cause you're not an orator. You don't like deliver speeches. You're not an actor in that sense. So for you, it is, it's all body acting. So that totally makes sense that you would like change the way that you walk and how you hold yourself. Yeah. Cool. All right. So Vic, let's have you make that roll. Make a roll with your kit with advantage.
Okay. I literally can't do worse than last time. So here we go, everyone.
Good. That's good. You rolled a 5. But you have a +6, so that's good for you.
11.
Okay.
I guess I have it. Do I need to meet with someone from Roll20?
Is my IP just like cursed?
Reverse the curse on my IP address, please.
Yeah. Some shows have producers that like run breaks and like do music and stuff. We have someone at Roll20 who's just like, I have decided Katie May will fail this roll. Here you go. So I'm just serving up numbers.
That's what it is.
So yeah, I mean, an 11 it's not bad. It's very average. You don't have maybe the material you need to make everyone look like totally different. But at a glance, hopefully everyone will be looking at Delilah anyway. And people will be like, oh, it's Delilah and 3 people I don't recognize that are kind of like tough and cool looking. But if Delilah leaves the room or any of you get cornered on your own, the disguises will probably fall apart, right? Like as long as there's something attracting attention away from you, then the outfits and the behavior changes and stuff, that'll hold. It'll give you, basically you've got a brief amount of time. There'll be a clock ticking until someone recognizes you, but that initial impression will be very strong and very like Delilah and Delilah's tough new friends.
All right. I hate to say this, but do not make me look bad in front of the band.
What?
I don't even know like what I
do not
okay.
Make me look bad in front of the band.
Again, I just don't know. I don't know what I would do that would make you look bad, but should I be on the lookout for something?
Look, Daddy-O, the way that it goes in the club is it's jazz, it's improv, it's moves, it's fluid, and sometimes you play a sour note. And dissonance isn't always a bad thing. That's the nice thing about jazz and life. It all comes together in the right ways. But if we're not a band, then we're just a bunch of fools trying to make some sound.
I reach towards the red book and then
I didn't realize that at some point Rook became the main character from the Bee movie. That's exciting that happened.
It is getting a little Seinfeldish.
Right. Like, what's the deal with Eberron?
Eberron. No, sorry. I'm sorry I made that joke. Yeah, Delilah will insist that all of the outfits incorporate a red feather.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that everybody knows where to get them.
Got accessorize.
And the cap.
I like it.
it's in my pocket square. Just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, it'll be in Delilah's fascinator.
So Vic, you have the easiest time of it because nobody really knows what you look like, and B, you don't really look like anything.
I just turned into something else.
Yeah. So what is Vic when is it the first or the last thing you put on? Like, do you change your shape and then dress it, or do you get dressed first and then fill out the outfit by changing your shape?
I think I get dressed first. I think that's the first thing, and then I let the look inspire the face.
Yeah.
Because it's
right. So you come up with the outfit, and then you're like, who would wear this? Right. What is that's cool. I like that. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of the final touch, right? Is Vic shape shifting into this other form? So what does Vic look like?
I actually try to match Bruno as in close as like stature.
Oh, I see. Right, to be like another heavy that'll get attention away from Bruno.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Vic has one brain cell.
I like it.
They used it for this situation.
That's cool. Okay. All right. Good. So everybody gets dressed up like Delilah's new heavies. Is there any other preparation, any other things that you want to do before you head over there?
Obviously hide my weapons that are needed inside my trench coat. And I'm gonna ask you something. In my inventory, I have 100 ball bearings.
Yes.
Is that like just like in a bag, like a marbles?
Yes. Is
that like I didn't know if like internally?
It's a bag. It's a bag of ball bearings. It's part of one of the preset like adventuring kits. I think the idea is that you throw it on the ground when people are chasing you and they'll trip on them.
They're to be used like caltrops.
Yeah. I was thinking about it in that exact same moment. I was like, oh yeah, just make sure I have I'm set for sure.
And all I have is a little bag of sand. That still makes no sense to me.
Pocket sand.
No, sand is great. Sand is for like it's like in Indiana Jones where he throws it to see the bridge, or like you can throw it if you think there's something invisible in the room, you can huck it in the room and see what it hits.
You can use it to steal an item.
You can use it to
that's
find
true.
the unseen servant.
The idol, you can flip it. Yeah, unseen servant. Exactly. Mm-hmm. See, sand is useful.
Hidden doors.
I'm wrong. I will issue my apology on Twitter later.
You can use it to soak up like bodily fluids, like if somebody bleeds on the floor or vomits. I guess we could
like cauterize a wound with glass with that sand.
So many exciting uses for sand.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I was wrong. Perfect.
This episode brought to you by the American Sand Corporation. Sand. It's more useful than you think.
And
is it
we have it in
sand or is
Kentucky
it
now.
silica?
Yep, exactly.
Because if it's silica, then it doesn't transfer heat the same way that regular sand does, and you could put it on a fire to put it out.
I'm pretty sure it's just regular sand, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make it cool.
Silica is cooler than sand, but this is regular sand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rude.
No, I don't do anything before we go.
You're good to go. It's like crack your knuckles a couple of times. Like, let's go.
All right. Sounds about right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Did I know that the artillerist pew pew is not a permanent item, and that I need to remake it every day, don't I?
I think you can let me read the ability again, because it is a brand new thing, and so nobody knows how it works yet.
Because if that's the case where like it goes away during like a long rest or something, it really doesn't say for enhanced.
Okay, so you have a couple of things. You have this infuse item ability where you can imbue mundane items. I'm gonna just try to let's put it in the chat. It's huge. So you can infuse an item. You have, I think, enhanced weapon, enhanced defense, enhanced arcane focus, and replicate magic item.
You're the one who's opening.
Yeah, sorry, I'm messing around with your character sheet.
I thought I was like, it's a ghost.
You can, so you summon it with an action, and then you can change it out whenever you want to do different stuff. And it lasts a certain amount of time. And then the same with your infusions. You can, whenever you finish a long rest, you can imbue something with one of your infusion abilities.
Okay, what about my Eldritch Cannon? How long does that?
I think it lasts an hour when you summon it.
How long did it take me to make it? Was it an action?
0 amount of time. Yeah, less than 6 seconds. You just go and it appears, and it's either a force ballista, a protector, or a flamethrower.
Yeah. So this one gonna be a flamethrower because I'm a monster, and also the spells that I took were Firebolt, Ray of Frost, and Magic Missile.
Yeah, that's cool. You're gonna go get in trouble in an enclosed space. A flamethrower sounds like just the exact right thing to bring with you.
I don't understand the question.
At least you're not going to the library.
I don't.
Okay.
Or roll insight to give a shit about the library.
I don't think you have to roll. I think you can just choose not to give a shit.
I sure don't.
So
reaction, don't give a shit.
You can do you want to imbue anybody else's stuff with your arcane infusions? You can pick one of your infusions and you could imbue an item with it. So like somebody's weapon could get a +1. Somebody's armor could get a bonus.
Who's the person who tells Delilah that a flamethrower in the nightclub is a bad idea? Because I feel like someone says it.
I would never say no to you, so it's almost certainly not me.
Yeah, I feel like anybody who thinks of it probably wouldn't be willing to say it out loud to you.
Yeah, I don't.
I suppose I'm trying to think because Bruno might like think of it because it's Bruno knows like a lot about fighting and would be like, I don't think that's a good. I think offhandedly you like if you bring it up, you're like, are you like taking it out and you're making it, and Bruno's like, a flamethrower in a like crowded like tight space. Okay, whatever.
Fine, you think you could do better, and then Delilah will infuse Bruno's knuckle dusters.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I thought this was going to be a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, and also whenever Delilah is doing things where it's like adding the flamethrower like ammo, it's like a little perfume bottle.
Nice. Okay. So one of your knuckle dusters, Bruno, righty or lefty, it doesn't matter, gets a +1 bonus to attack and damage. Oh, and what does that look like, Delilah? Is it like a like you said, there's is it a spray on like coating that makes it more resilient, or do you add spikes, or like what do you do? Because you have to tinker with it for a short period of time.
Yeah, Delilah will tinker with it while Bruno is getting a makeover, and we'll essentially take like a bottle of nail polish and put a clear coat on them to make them more durable, and then hand them back. And hopefully if you use these correctly, we won't have to resort to the flamethrower.
I think when Bruno gets them back, like lingers on like grabbing them out of Delilah's hands for a minute, and then like just has a big smile and kind of raises an eyebrow at them.
There's also like a smile, but it's like, I expected you to find this more annoying. Fine. And when you pick them up, if you turn them in the light, there's like iridescent glitter on them.
Oh, that's a little more annoying. No.
Yeah, from the top coat.
This doesn't match my aesthetic at all.
Delightful.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I mean, you would have, Bruno, you would have had somebody back in the day. You would have had somebody who was like your gear manager, who probably would have been like a minor artificer, who would have like given you like, he's like, here's your special gloves for the fight, Bruno. Like you're used to getting kind of like this kind of treatment from people. So yeah, that's cool. And there probably was a lot of like, don't ask questions, just shut up and put them on. Go get in the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So you, Delilah, you have your weapon prepared. You've done your infusion. So I guess the only thing before setting out is like, what is the plan? Like, you're gonna go to this place. Are you showing up to intimidate the baby into backing off? Are you here for a confrontation? Are you here to just like kill a bunch of Night Street gangsters and take over? Like, what is this interaction going to look like if it goes exactly according to plan?
Delilah, what do you want it to look like? I think I think
we should all just go ahead and admit that we wanted a nightclub scene and we didn't really think it through.
Rook knew exactly what was going to happen. They're gonna become a like manager of this band because they unfortunately have no heart. And
the
band, like the Sank Fernatra's duo, and Dino Martin.
Yeah, I think Delilah is
Davis Jr. Yeah. He's there.
Sammy Davis Warforged.
Yeah, Sammy Davis. But yeah, and particularly for Rook at this point is if they know that they're already involved with Delilah and the gang already knows that Rook is meeting and has crossed them in the past. At this point, it's about just making a statement and not being scared.
It is.
And I think like for that is showing up and responding to how they react to our presence.
Yeah, it's very much in Delilah's mind, it's everybody knows we're hanging out. Then I'm just going to show up and be like, I don't care that you know. Mm-hmm. I'm not hiding.
Yeah. Nice. So it's a showdown. You just show up to prove to them like, yeah, I'm here and I'm not afraid of you. Okay, cool.
Also, Jazz should be unperverted by the gang. And that's Rook's main mission. To be there for the beauty of the tunes.
That's right.
Man.
Everybody else has their own stuff in mind, but Rook is here to fight for Jazz. The concept. Just
if we don't have a Duke Silver-esque like
but I'm also his arm pops out, their arm pops out and it's a flute and just plays.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good. Excellent.
Yas flute.
Perfect. All right. So everybody's all geared up, looking tough, and
sexy.
You are ready to you're ready to roll. So you head out into the rain on your way to the polished pram, which we will check out after the break. So we're gonna take a short break here, and when we get back, we will take a look at all the baby hath wrought with their fancy Eberron nightclub, the polished pram. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This stream is brought to you by Roll20, an easy-to-use virtual tabletop dedicated to making tabletop RPGs accessible to everyone. Join the adventuring party at roll20.net.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to today's episode of Eberron, Gateway to Perdition. It's time to go to the nightclub. Let's check it out. So I think rather than like walk you there or you take the train or whatever, you show up in style because you're traveling with Delilah to Kenneth, and I would expect no less. So what do you think? Do you walk up? Do you arrive in like a carriage? Like, do you take a taxi, basically like a magical taxi? Like what is your
carriage?
Yeah, describe to me your magical arrival here. What does it look like?
Well, describe the outside of the
you want to know the
nightclub.
outside? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Obviously,
'cause if it's like a underground nightclub, then like no.
so this
But
is
if
supposed to
it's
be
like-
this is supposed to be their legitimate business.
Okay.
So it is big. It's a multi-story nightclub. The front of it is all like black and gold, very Art Deco kind of looking entrance. Big sort of like decorative columns on either side of the entrance.
Yeah,
There is
very,
a
like Great Gatsby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's no sign, but everybody knows what this place is and have lined up. There's a lineup that goes like around the block of people standing in the rain, all nervously like shifting, trying to keep their best clothes from getting rained on. Lots of people standing with umbrellas, waiting to see. And at the front, there are two bouncers, enormous dudes. Bruno, you guaranteed have like fought these dudes before. Two big like meat necks, and they're wearing tuxedos. And standing there, and there's like the only thing holding everyone back is a little velvet rope between these two guys, and that's the scene, right? That's what we see. Obviously, it's raining. There is light coming. It's dark now because it's nighttime, and we can hear muted from the other side of the big double doors. We can hear the sounds of a jazz band playing inside, so we can hear. Maybe the sound of trumpet and drums and a stand-up bass, but it's all muted. It's all high pass filtered. So that's the scene. How do you arrive?
I imagine we pull up in like a black carriage.
Yeah.
Stretch carriage.
Stretch carriage. Stretch carriage.
Stretch carriage.
Oh,
Sure. I mean, there are what are they called? Sky coaches, which are basically like flying magic cars.
Yeah.
So yes, you can.
And it's
arrive
gonna
in one of
have
those.
a drop top, but of course the top is up because the rain
Yes.
is going on. Because I got money, so I can afford a car with a roof.
That's true.
We'll pull up directly to the front of the club,
Mhm.
and like I imagine this, and correct me if this is incorrect, y'all.
Someone
like-
said Eberron.
That's good.
Like
That's nice.
it's called
You're
Bruno and Vic pop out from Bruno comes out from like the front
Mhm.
passengers, and then Vic comes out from the other side. I'll come out from the front door and pull out an umbrella, and then offer my hand.
You think I'm
towards
umbrelling?
Delilah.
We will fight. I will roll. How dare you fight
How is this?
on
Yeah.
my top?
Okay.
We'll fight. Are we gonna fight?
I'll pull out the umbrella and you can grab it from me. I don't mind.
I have an umbrella, and it's Delilah's umbrella, and it's pretty, and I'm pretty sure we'll also kill someone.
Perfect.
Bruno is also getting in the mix and doesn't have an umbrella, but is like taking the end of their coat and trying to like use it to cover people's heads.
I'll just-
Whose
specifically.
umbrella are you standing under, Delilah? That's not Vic asking that. That's me, Katie May, asking.
Well, Rook doesn't even open it after seeing the struggle. It's just like, well, I'll just have it checked in with the code, I guess. There's no need. Well, it's fine.
I
Delilah.
hate for you to get rusty, and I'm just shimmy out in front.
Yeah, I think Delilah will wait for all of this nonsense to settle. And it's just like, I specifically had them dressed nicely so that they wouldn't embarrass me. And now one of them is getting greasy raindrops all over their nice jacket. And just like secretly like speaking to themselves. I'm sure the driver like leans over the back and is like, you have to get out of the car. And Delilah's like, shut the
The
I'm
driver.
having a crisis.
So the driver is a warforged, but he's wearing like a chauffeur's like jacket and cap, And he's very well trained, and so does not respond unless spoken to directly, and is very good at making it seem like whatever is going on in the Sky Coach, they are just oblivious to it. So yeah.
I think if they had turned around, they would see the brief moment of panic on Delilah's face before they.
So the drivers are Warforged?
Yes.
I want to pull military rank.
Really?
Yeah. Which is part of my background. I'm going to pop it in chat.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You have military rank from your career as a soldier. Soldiers loyal to a foreign or military organization still recognize your authority and influence, and they defer to you.
It's so cool too, because it's like there's this weird, and we talked a little bit about this in the first one. There's this weird kind of like shared trauma in that all modern Warforged were soldiers of some degree or another, and you being able to have this sort of shared like I see you, like I remember.
And I think part of this is like where the world is built of like. There's a level of community outside of the war. Like if a Warforged needs something investigated, they would reach out to me and I would probably do it pro bono.
Yeah,
right. Same way, like how we needed a car, we were able to get one. And in the same way, I would imagine that when necessary.
Oh, so is that why like this, you called in a favor and this guy, this former like sergeant is like, whatever you need, lieutenant, and like came to get you?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think in that reason, like they will be here if we need a quick way out.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. So he pulls into the underground parking garage and won't be important until later in the movie. Okay. All right. Yeah. So he tells you, I'll be right outside if you need anything. And he only says that when you're the only one left in the coach, like everyone else gets out and then he speaks. And he says to you, he's like, I'll wait out here. If you need anything, I'll keep an eye on the entrance.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Cool. Okay. So he pulls the Sky Coach off to the side and waits. So yeah, you imagine when we think about this place and the way it's built. Yeah, imagine like Great Gatsby, imagine like Art Deco, imagine like Rockefeller, right? Like that kind of like big like carvings of big like winged figures holding torches, and this kind of like the future is bright and industry and monorails. Imagine kind of like Rapture from BioShock with less Ayn Rand, but not that much less. And and it's all that very sweeping and large. And I think probably Delilah, what was this building before it was a nightclub? What do you remember this? Because you know this neighborhood. What was this building before you went to jail?
I think before Delilah went to jail, this was an apartment complex. And a lot of this area has started to see like some gentrification as the city expands. Yeah. And so this was an apartment complex where they knocked out the floors to have like a few what do you call them? Penthouses. Yeah. With open balconies on the insides. There's like an enormous, I want to say, and you can correct me, but like because they've like put balconies in the middle and this was a very tall apartment, they've put like a fountain that shoots like straight up to almost the top floor just to like show off that.
Yeah, there's like water features that have been added, that kind of thing. Yeah,
there's like a lot of crystalline like chandelier nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to give it like baby motifs, and then I was like, that's idiotic. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean it's called the polished pram because that's what the baby wanted to call it, but the motif, like the actual internal stuff, they hired someone else. The architect would not allow that.
They did the polished pram for branding.
Yeah.
A baby on the fountain. You know those fountains?
Yeah, like the cherub.
Cherubs are a common theme. Yeah, I like that.
I call them fountain babies. Both are valid.
Fountain babies, aka cherubs.
Are they, Katie May?
Winged fountain babies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so the features are all like cherubs' faces that are like spouting water off of the balconies and stuff.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Cool. All right. So when you pull up, you are confronted, of course, with the front doors and the two tough-looking bodyguards that stand on either side of said door. So what do? Do you just like walk up and try to walk past them, or?
Yeah.
Do you want to try and intimidate them?
I think that we'll start with just walking past them.
Uh-huh.
And then just go from there.
Okay, so as you walk up, there are the two guards, one on either side, and there's a carpet that leads up to the door. The door is closed, and there is a rope in front of it. You could theoretically just step over it, but that's a different flex than making them grab the rope.
Right.
Delilah will wait outside of the rope with a bored expression.
Okay, yeah, so you just walk up and let's get a persuasion or intimidation roll, Delilah, whichever you think is more appropriate here.
Neither one of these will do well. I have a 12 charisma.
Okay, you can have advantage because you're with your posse.
Persuasion and
Yeah,
intimidation. So I get +1. I'll do persuasion.
And if it doesn't work, Vic can just try to talk them into it.
I'll step in if this goes.
Or we'll shoot them, whatever. Oh man, why did I click that? I didn't mean to. Sorry, I clicked a different thing.
Oh no! That would have been so bad if you didn't have advantage. So,
oh my goodness.
So this is the regular roll
roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah, the regular roll was a 1, and the advantage roll was a 20. So yeah, it works perfectly because of your previous work. Because you've got your goons with you here. The guards, they look at each other. And you see, I think maybe Vic is the one that notices this. They expected you. They're like, Of course you're here. Like, we were waiting for you. Mr. Kenneth, please. They don't say any of that, but one of them reaches up before you even have a chance to look bored as you walk out. One of them reaches up, grabs the brass end of the rope, clicks the hook and opens it. The other opens the door for you. And allows you inside. So feel free to head into the vestibule. I have a map of the whole club here, so you can go in and check it out.
Yeah, I like to think that like the reason that it was a nat 20 is because Delilah choreographed their walks in. So in spite of like the scramble that they did, as soon as they like put their hand on the rope, Delilah with their fingers, and then there was some like fall in line like a V formation of geese.
Yeah. I said it's left, right, left, pivot, turn, sneer. More disdain. Come on.
More disdain.
So with the two front doors being pulled open by this bouncer, you can now see into the vestibule. There are some columns. You can hear immediately the unmistakable sound, Rook, you recognize, of the Bixkay Hill Band. You recognize the swinging drums of Bixkay Hill himself. There's a saxophone solo going on. They're warming up the crowd for the big vocal number later. Yeah. You hear that. You can smell cigar smoke. You hear the sounds of glasses clinking and people talking. And the whole place just reeks of class. So as you walk in, you see there's a woman sitting at the desk. She's wearing a sequined gown and has her like makeup on, and there's a little like a coat check room over here, and I think over in the corner of this room you see there's a big I guess it'd be like a magi technological, like a cigarette machine, but magic, and so it's glowing with a faint light as you come in, and the woman smiles. And says to whoever the first person through the door is, take your coat.
Bruno will be going through and just shake their head no.
Okay. Yeah, you're like, I'm fine. It's like, walk in. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to think if they would have. No, probably not. Okay. All right. So yeah, you can just walk past and walk into the main bar itself.
Yeah.
I'll offer up my trench.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I offer my coat as well, but I really like. I offer up my trench.
Delilah has like a big fur shrug over this like waistcoat and white silk like ruffle neck nonsense. And drops the shrug to their inner elbows and looks at the coat girl and says, "No need to put your grubby hands on it. We won't be long."
Okay. Does
and
one
just
of your
like breezes past.
does Vic take the, because you don't even finish undressing it yourself, right? You just let it fall and you're like, somebody
No.
take this off of me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm on it. I'm there.
Don't let this coat hit the ground today.
Okay.
Die first.
So Vic, as you're giving the coat to the coat check girl, she says to you, 'cause she wouldn't say this to Delilah directly. She's like, "Oh my God, is that Delilah DeCannith?"
Oh, you certainly bet it is.
And she says, "Oh, she's even more glamorous than I thought. Prison hasn't aged her a day."
No. And you know what? She's more radiant than ever. You'll see.
And she looks at her with these big glassy eyes, and she's just like, "By golly, what a dame." And she watches you like discard your coat and walk into the place, I assume.
They're going to rule this town in just a short amount of time. That's when I just turned into weird henchman. That's when
yes, she's glory. Good. Yes.
Jazz version of Billie Eilish's "You Should See Me in a Crown" starts playing.
Yeah.
Postmodern jukebox. We just pay them an inordinate amount of money.
Yeah, we were doing. You got to know that if this was a TV show, we would do that awful thing that HBO does on every single show, where it's like, Here, it's like the swing jazz version, the instrumental swing jazz version of a Wu-Tang song. Ah, you recognize this, right? How about some Nine Inch Nails?
You wanted this, right? You wanted this.
You haven't seen Westworld recently, clearly.
Yeah, clearly. Yep. That drove me. That moment in Westworld drove me crazy because I didn't realize right away, and then I was like, "Wait a second.
Yeah,
I know this song." Yep. Okay. All right. So you hand off your stuff to the coat check girl. Vic, can you make? Actually, who's the last one into the bar? Because I assume Vic, you hand off the coat and then follow Delilah pretty closely, right?
Yeah.
So who's the last person to leave the like vestibule for the bar? Who's the last one out?
I think it's me because
Is it you, Rook?
I still have my trench coat.
Okay. Yeah. So she takes it from you as the other three enter into the bar, and as you go to leave, you notice she doesn't go back to the coat check room. She doesn't go this way. She goes through this door instead. And on the door, all it says is employees only. You just notice her go through that door there.
Well, okay. I like double back up and well, actually, I'm gonna peel off.
Okay. So let me describe the room for you. So you come in through the archway, and the archway probably has something like ludicrous on it, like "Welcome to Paradise" or whatever as you come in. And as you walk in, the smell of smoke, the sound of the band, the sound of everybody, and everybody's all very glamorously dressed here, right? Everybody's wearing expensive suits, smoking expensive cigars, drinking champagne, wearing gowns. The band looks great. Bix is, and I think you would know Bix Cahill from the war. Bix is a Warforged percussionist, and he came back and he started this jazz combo.
That's how he's on the 2s and 4s like magic.
Exactly. He's like some kind of drum machine. And so you see him at the back, and he's just playing like a casual, kind of like a swing beat. And there's a stand-up bass player, and there's a saxophonist, and they're playing, and everybody's like talking and having a great time. And you walk in, and like we said before, like Delilah described, the whole place is like opulent, right? Everything is polished gold and dark blue, and you can see the gang. But upon walking in, you take a look around. There's no sign of the baby himself, though certainly he must be around here someplace. Yeah. So as you come in, that's what you see. And then Rook, you said you wanted to peel off.
It's tough because I think seeing an employees only room and being an investigative unit would be something that like order would dictate him to follow through on, is like gather intel and then double back. But also Big Scahill is playing. And so this is a like true moment of conflict between war programming and life passion.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, in the moment of indecision of however long it takes, they realize that they have let like prime opportunity of both enjoyment to pass.
Yeah.
And just like slowly walks into the like actual area.
Right. So like you hover in that space of indecision and it sort of sours both options.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So
Ouch.
yeah.
And then double back and whoever that lady is with the crush on Delilah, they know we're here now.
Oh, they knew we were here the whole time. When they opened the little rope, they knew. Though
Right. Of course.
it's how
but
quickly they come running is what I'm interested in.
but they don't know that I'm here yet, right? Like then they can't tell it's me. I'm doing a good job, right?
You are doing the best job
Bruno, crushing it.
You notice I was trying not to speak in front of people, because
It was really good.
That was very good.
Yeah.
You not talking was very good. Succeeded.
More D&D games need these conversations. Like you finish a fight and then everybody just spends 20 minutes reaffirming each other. Like you did really good. That magic missile was awesome. Thank you. So
my party actually does that. It sucks.
There's a lowered area in front of you with some of these tables. There are tables set around the stage around this side. There's a bar over here. There's some booths near the back. The facilities are right around the corner here. There's a big glass wall over on this side, and then there's some like private rooms over here. Now there's also there's like a second floor, and if you look up, this whole section in the middle is like a mezzanine. So there are like VIP seating up above, and you can only make out sort of silhouettes. The whole place is lit dimly by magical light. Right, there are lanterns or like magical chandeliers basically hanging above, and so the area up above is open, but you don't see stairs that lead up to it anywhere around here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Can I?
do we think that the either the VIP section up there or like in those private rooms, right?
Yes, but I think shortly someone will be here to let us know that we have a meeting.
Yes, the ball I think is in their court. Delilah, is there anything that you wish to be drinking? I'd love nothing more than to get it for you.
Delilah has already grabbed a martini off of a
I
plate
look
and
a
is
fool.
holding it, but hasn't sipped off of it yet, has just been waiting for Vic to
Did
bring
you just
something
take it
up.
from a random waitress?
Just like as they pass by, just scooped it up off, which by the way is a IRL TK move, because I'm a monster.
I love it. You're like, so the waitress just kind of looks at you and you eyeball her hard enough that she's just like, I guess I'll go get another martini.
Yeah, I just look back at her like, please say something.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and just like holds the martini, doesn't drink it, waits for Vic to say something, hands it to Bruno, and says, Vic, I would love something with a spritzer in it. I've felt a little hoarse lately.
Yes.
Kind on my throat, please.
Delilah, I'd love nothing more than to get that for you. And I head off to the bar.
Oh, could you also get me?
No. And will I walk over?
No.
I knew.
That's good. It was nice to give Vic the opportunity to say no.
Yeah, that's what's important. Can I do some sort of check around to see, like, who's watching us with maybe like told intent? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, of course.
What kind
So
of
all the bartenders are just like cleaning.
If
a
you're trying
glass
to
and
read the vibe of the room,
yes,
you're reading the situation. Yeah, make an insight check.
Insight, good, better than perception. Here we go. A 5. Now listen,
Wow.
this email that I'm gonna send to Roll20 it's going to be long.
If you could roll better than like a 6 or a 7, I'd be really impressed if you could try to do that today.
Dear
Yeah, that'd be
Mr.
really
20.
So let
Dear
me.
Mr. 20, please.
Let me just, so I know we've been playing D&D together for a while, Katie Mae, but you know that high numbers are better than low numbers, right? In this game.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
So if
okay.
you could-
Not golf.
Yeah, I've been noticing there's not as many dungeons or dragons as I thought there would be. This is all kind of new to me.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So I think
All
the only, you tell me, like, why does Vic have such trouble? Why does Vic have a hard time?
I think Vic thinks it's everyone. I think Vic
That's
can't
paranoia?
see past their paranoia.
Right, right. So I like, cause that would also be like a thing too, right? You're looking at all these people and like the shot here would be to illustrate Vic's paranoia. So the music would probably be kind of like off tune slightly, like slightly warbly. And it seems like everyone is staring at you and like laughing in slow motion. Like the room is just full of eyes, piercing eyes staring in your direction as you walk over to the bar.
Vic thinks irises are weird and
Right. Eye contact in general would be a foreign concept to changelings. Like they would have to practice it because
you're so right.
they can't. You could. It's like they're a whole species of people wearing sunglasses all the time.
Yeah, I relate.
So you head over to the bar. Yep.
Yes, I know Delilah's drink order by heart. I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Choose whatever you want. It'll be right.
Delilah.
I know.
Delilah, Rook, and Bruno. Do you go find a table or?
Yeah. Bruno's gonna go find a table.
Yeah, Delilah doesn't find a table. She has people.
There's I think there's an
people for
empty.
that.
There's an empty table over here.
That's
So-
pretty good. That's. I was actually looking at that one.
Yeah. So that's I think where the three of you end up. Down
I love
there.
this table. It's my favorite.
The best table.
Okay. So yeah, you head over and you sit down at the table. And I think as you do, so there's in the table surface, there is a like you hear a chiming as a little window opens and you can see there's a little reflective, like a glass dome that displays essentially a magical hologram of like the menu, and that appears in the middle of the table. You can hear the quiet conversations of people around you. There's evidently like a date or something, or some like rich dude is out with his mistress at the table next to you, because she does that laugh that is like clearly obviously canned and fake to anyone else who's listening, but her companion doesn't seem to notice. Right? He's just like chomping on a cigar. He says something funny and she titters. The band finishes their number. Bix gets up and he does a little bow and he says, me and the band are going to take a little break. We'll be right back. And there's some applause as Bix and his two players go backstage.
That's terrifying.
And so the group of you are you're sitting out here. You go over to the bar, Vic. You get a drink. What do you order for Delilah?
Ooh, I know so much about alcohol. Please don't make any Katie Mae's too young to drink it jokes. I'm just so terrified to say something here right now. I'm so scared.
I order her a wine cooler.
A non-version Shirley Temple.
What is like with a spritzer?
I order her a Fireball and Dr. Pepper, I guess, or I don't.
That's exactly what it is. No, okay, so some sort of spritzer.
She does
I should
actually
have been
drink
googling
Fireball.
it. I should have been googling spritzer drinks. What's a spritzer drink? I don't know what it is. I'm panicking on the inside.
I imagine this is Vic's internal monologue as they walk from the entrance to the bar. And actually, this is literally even years on. This is literally what I have to do every time I want to order a drink from the bar. I have to rehearse it in my head the entire time while I wait for someone to come up and ask me what I need to drink. And I'm like, don't say it wrong. Don't say the wrong thing. Don't make an ass of yourself. Just order the damn drink, Adam. So you have a moment as you walk up, and then the bartender, a halfling woman, she has short hair on the sides, and it's like a little taller on the top. She's wearing a buttoned-up shirt with a bow tie, and she has her sleeves rolled up and like held up with those like sleeve garters, the old-timey like sleeve garters. Yes. And she's looks at you while she's finishing someone else's drink, and she's got a knife that she is cutting the rind off of a lemon with. And she does it in one practice, like twist, and gets this like perfect corkscrew. And she looks over at you and she smiles and she says, "Get you something, sweetheart?"
Yes. Well, TK has just sent me a Fireball cocktail recipe, so I guess we're good. go with that. You just messaged it to me. I now have to pull it up. It's called You Sent Me. I'm sorry to just stop the whole Dungeons and Dragons game. You have sent me a Hunger Games themed recipe cocktail.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'll say it with a straight face, and then you'll be the one who feels bad.
No, I've had this cocktail. It's in my favorites.
Yes, the girl on Fireball cocktail. It'd be that one. That one is the one I'd like.
Fantastic.
I don't care. It's delicious.
What is in a the girl on Fireball?
Yes, thank you for asking me. I have to do the thing with recipe posts where I have to get through like the girl's whole life, and then she'll tell me what the recipe is.
I first drank this drink in 2003. It was a good year.
I scroll through the whole thing, and it's just a bottle of hard cider and whiskey.
Yeah. And then I mix a little bit of Sprite in it.
There you go. Doesn't sound bad.
I can't breathe. That was so pointless. But I was gonna been like, get some Fireball whiskey and your favorite hard cider, but I scrolled for like
a lot of recipe websites are just blogs with a recipe at the end of the post, which is that's fine.
Okay.
Or I will settle for apple pie moonshine.
Oh my god, apple pie moonshine is
I've
so
had
good.
that.
It's really good.
Yeah, let out your inner white girl, Adam.
Wait, let's just get moonshine all around.
Yeah,
yes,
cool.
apple pie moonshine for everyone.
Your boy's going to South Carolina for Christmas. Could make that happen.
Oh my god. So Vic, you order the drink, and the final touch is the bartender takes a little glass, like a stir stick, drops it in, swirls it around a couple of times. There's a brief flash as the top layer like burns off, and she blows the drink off and puts it on the table. And do you go to pay her, or do you just walk off with it?
I also get a round of apple pie moonshine shots. Okay. I get a round for all of us. And then, yes, I do walk away.
Okay, yeah. So she gives you, she says, now that you have a bunch of shots and stuff, she says, do you want me to have one of the girls bring it over to your table? And she looks, you can see your comrade sitting at the table over there.
That'd be cool. That'd be wonderful. Yes.
All right. So she gets a waitress to bring it over. And you head back over to the table, I assume.
Yeah. Adam.
Yes.
I think you're forgetting something.
What's that?
You have not been abiding by the hot or not rules.
Oh, that's true. I thought that it was implied. The hot characters in this scene so far are, depending on your preferences, Bix Scahill.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Highly stylish robot drummer.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the bartender is
Bartender
also
was hot.
Okay.
the bartender
was
is also
hot.
What
she
about
is
the
also
band?
hot. The band they're just like background stand-in like session musicians. It's the Big Scahill band featuring these guys.
I love
They just look like randomly generated Sims.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
They literally disappear into a pile of pixels when they go off screen. It's just gone. They no longer exist.
He was
Okay,
a
I was
real
just
good
making sure.
illusionist robot back in the day, you know. He does all. It's actually him doing all of them.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's a one-man band. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's what's going on. Bruno, you had a question? I thought.
Well, no, I was just gonna say when Vic comes back to the table, or to the table for the first time, Bruno is like going through the menu, like looking at stuff like, I thought they removed wings from the menu, so like this is cool. They have wings again. Anybody wants them? I mean, like I'm not like terribly hungry, but if anybody else is hungry, I could go on some wings together. Like I'm not gonna be able to eat all of them myself. I could definitely eat all of them myself, but I don't want to do that tonight. You know what I mean? They have.
They're probably like the wings are probably like small dinosaur wings. Like it's like velociraptor wings.
Mm-hmm.
Terrifying.
And Bruno just looks up at the rest of the table like, am I
literally cannot eat or drink.
Right. Okay. Delilah.
Delilah doesn't want heartburn, but doesn't say so out loud.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, Delilah just looks disdainfully at the menu and continues scoping out for the baby. Can I does a scope for the baby?
Yes.
check? Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
I would
Yeah.
also like to do a perception check, if that is okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'm so scared.
All right. A 10,
Cool,
a
cool,
10 and a
cool,
6.
Cool.
Nope.
Should have just given you advantage. I think that would have been the best way to have done
Yeah,
that.
unfortunately, in this situation, like it's an internal like thing.
Yeah.
So like helping someone on perception is more like you're putting your heads together and you're like actively looking for something. This is more like just looking around.
Yeah.
But I will say this. So Rook, you notice, and maybe this is you're distracted by this, but from back here, from this little side entrance here, you see Bix Scahill. Bix emerges from the back, and he starts making his way over to the bar. And he starts walking this way. And he walks by your table. Do you want to stop and talk to him, or do you want to see if he
Yes.
notices you? Or yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So do you-
I don't. Yeah, I would like to go stop and talk to him.
okay, yeah. So
Or
he's
at least
Go
join
make
him at
your
the bar.
dreams come true.
He's walking by. He so yeah, as we said before, he's got like the pinstripe like zoot suit on. He's got a fedora. He's spinning a drumstick in his fingers, but he's doing it in a way that no human dexterity would allow. Like he's just it's this very complicated spin. And I think Rook, you've seen other Warforged do this with like knives. Right.
Yeah.
And so he's just idly spinning the drumstick around as he walks to the bar, humming to himself. And then you see him like starting to go by.
I approach him, make eye contact.
Yeah.
I salute, and I go, Unit 9674. What an honor and privilege to see you again, sir. And like,
yeah.
no,
And
no, like,
Yeah, when
accent.
you address him like that, he stops and he turns, and there's a second where he kind of like his composure, like the big Scahill like illusion, kind of slips slightly, and I think I'm gonna make a roll. I want to see if you surprise him enough that he like drops the drumstick. Let's see. He's pretty unflappable, but oop, not today. So when you say that, he stops and he turns, and you just hear the despite the ambient sound of the bar, we watch the drumstick like bounce off the floor, and he turns to look at you, and he sees you, and you're giving him like a little salute.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm addressing him as his title and my previous commander for a brief stint.
Yeah, and would he recognize you, or is there a chance he wouldn't?
I would leave it up to a roll.
Okay.
I truly,
Yeah, sure. Okay. What do you think the chances are that he recognizes you?
Well, you're a little disguised, aren't you?
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
A pencil mustache.
Yeah, the pencil
mustache. It's a new face that hasn't been seen before. Yeah, I would say. I think unless I introduce myself as, I don't even think he would recognize. Potentially could recognize my unit number, but offer like investigation unit 1138X as like for a moment if he doesn't remember. Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna roll just to see. Okay. So he stops and he looks at you.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, I don't go by the numbers anymore, kid."
I know. Honestly, it's the reason why I talk like this now instead of like that. You can actually call me Rook Slade. It's truly an honor and a privilege.
And you can see him sort of staring at you, like,
Yeah.
and if it were a human, he'd have like a furrowed brow and he'd be trying to figure, but it's impossible to say. So he just stares at you, and he says, "Slade, I know that name. Why do I know that name?"
Been around, purchased a couple of your records, maybe in mass. Saw a lot of your shows.
And
to be honest, yeah.
when you say that, you see his body language change, right?
Yeah.
Where he puts on the Bix costume more fully again,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, you're a fan. I have context now.
Right.
And he says, shucks. Well, if I had known I was addressing such a big fan, well, that's different. And he claps you on the shoulder, and he says, well, I'm glad to have you out at the show.
Yeah.
What a venue, huh? And he looks around.
Gorgeous. What a rootin' place. You know, sharing the stage with such legends, and of course you're one of them.
And he says, coming from just about anybody, I'd assume you were trying to flatter me, but I know you're a real fan, Slade. So, and he looks around, and he sees the discarded, the dropped drumstick, and he crouches down, he picks it up, and he says, he holds it out.
I try to get there before him to offer it to him first.
Yeah. So he picks it up, and he holds it out to you, and he says, why don't you hang on to this?
Oh. If Rook could cry.
The tears of a machine.
The tears of a machine. Like, I know you have more. Thank you.
And he looks past you, and he sees Delilah, and he says, those your friends over there, Slade?
Yes, sir.
Look like a bunch of movers and shakers. Why didn't you introduce me? And he just starts walking like past you already towards the table.
Absolutely.
That's
I follow
terrifying.
immediately behind him and try to rush up in front and go, Cats, this is the one, the only, the Bic Scahill.
And he puts his hands up like, whoa, okay. You're making me seem like a bigger deal than I am. But it's false modesty, right? He's just like,
Right.
it's true, like I am. But like,
Well, also for Rook, like, Bic is the reason why they don't have as mad at like PTSD and everything from the war. Like, truly, like the idea of finding this outlet through like numbers turning into music in the way of like, that's like it's the way it's being processed for, I think, at least for Rook when they listen to it, and like giving them purpose outside of it. So like,
yeah,
pure fan.
yeah, they're a role model, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Totally. Okay, so it seems that Bix is mostly interested in meeting Delilah. Vic, do you get in the way as he walks up?
Not. I look to Delilah for like a, do you want to deal with this interaction?
Delilah does not. The thing with Delilah is that Delilah is House Cannith, so they already have like a very complicated relationship with Warforged in general. The only Warforged to date who has earned Delilah's respect has been Rook, because Rook was such a thorn in their side before they went away to prison as an investigator and police officer. So there is like a begrudging respect between rivals who have unfortunately found themselves to be allies in this moment. That will probably change when Delilah's back in power, but for now, Rook is the only Warforged that Delilah wants to be seen in public with.
Yeah.
All right.
That's just how it is.
Then I do my old move, but now I'm in like a burly Nathan Lane, like a terrifying.
I like the idea that Vic has multiple Nathan Lanes, where you're like, I'm Nathan Lane, but from the birdcage. Okay, now I'm Nathan Lane, but
this is Nathan Lane from
Nathan
Producers.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, for absolutely sure. And so I like intervene. And I do but now I'm in like a cool, can be intimidating form, and I'm feeling more confident. And I say, yes, well, we love meeting talent.
Okay, and what are you trying to get him to do? Like,
just
fuck
sort
off?
of realize that, yeah, fuck off. Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right.
Just be uncomfortable enough to see that he isn't wanted.
Yeah.
And Delilah doesn't say anything to him, looks over his shoulder at Rook and says, Rook, when you've finished playing around, we should get back to business.
Vic, can you make an intimidation check?
I feel it in the air tonight.
Do it with
friends.
advantage,
This is the
because
one
Delilah
where it all
is
changes.
sneering over your shoulder and ignoring this very important Warforged.
I don't care about it.
Wow.
Very intimidating this time. 21. All right. So Bix stops when you say that, when you're like, we don't, what do you say to him? Like, what's the last thing you say?
We love to meet Talent.
That's right, yeah.
But Talent is said in a very not
hell?
nice way.
Yeah. So Bix stops and he casts a quick glance at Rook like, oh, you didn't warn me that they were racists, Rook. You should have told me. Doesn't say anything, but there's a quick look like, oh, this is how it is. And
Can I shift to a very shocked face very fast?
I mean, as shocked as a Warforged face can be. Yep.
Yeah.
He stops a little short and he looks to Vic instead, realizing like, oh, I can't talk to her. I got to talk to you. And he says, I see how it is. That's fine. It's a very important, very useful skill to know when you're somewhere that you're not wanted. It's kept me out of trouble all these long years. Enjoy the show, everybody. And he turns and he walks past you and he looks at you like a little bit disdainfully, Rook. Like, these are the kind of people you're hanging out with.
Okay, step and fetch it.
Get your shit straight.
Said, don't make me look bad in front of the band.
So he looks at you like this was all your fault, Rook, and he shrugs and he's like, he walks away, humming to himself again, and goes back down this little hallway.
I would feel bad, but he was obviously using Rook for clout, so I don't feel bad.
Better.
TK doesn't feel bad.
He's my hero until, well, this is probably a moment later. Rook will realize they're just an individual. Yeah, he sucks as well. But right now,
dude sucks.
It hurts.
Okay.
Rook just got to
as he was walking away, can I use my Fey presence just as because everyone in a 10-foot cube has to make a wisdom saving throw against my warlock spell DC and either be charmed or frightened by me.
Oh, perfect. Yes, if you'd like to charm or frighten Bix Cahill, you are welcome to do so.
Does that include us too?
Yes, it certainly does.
Is it it's creatures?
Swear to God.
Yes.
Okay. So your 10-foot cube is going to be what? Like you can hit it. So let's see. If he's still here, a 10-foot cube would get both the Warforged if you put it there.
Okay. Yeah, that would work for me. That'd be fine.
Okay, so
I should
Delilah,
get advantage against her.
Is Delilah in or out?
I can't tell. It won't zoom in.
I'm
for
sure.
me.
It's up to you. Do you want it? You could hit all three of them, or
no, I would never do this to Delilah.
Okay.
No, I would not.
All right.
But if it hits fucking Brooke, then I don't care.
Okay.
Okay. I see how it is.
I think that I will amend it to Delilah being impressed, so charmed.
Cool.
I think you choose when you activate it, right?
Yeah, I would choose that both of my companions would be charmed by me and that what's his face Bick would be terrified by me.
Okay.
Maybe enough to just go backstage to whoever's planning to fuck with us and spread some worry about is my goal.
All right, let's see this wisdom save. I got a 15.
Oh, by one. You beat me by one.
All right, so you managed to charm Rook. And where do we land on Delilah? Delilah was outside the effect?
I'll say Delilah was inside because I'm definitely in the square that is diagonal.
I think it's reasonable to hit all three if you want. Yeah, and so Delilah. So this is the thing: is that Vic is a powerful warlock, right? We forget that, but they have like deep magical power, and now Rook and Delilah both feel it. What is that like, Vic, when you charm someone with your spells?
It's like right when you get that feeling of like what I don't know what it looks like, but I feel like it's like almost like this when it hits you, because I don't know if it's visible.
Yeah,
when
I don't
hits
think
you, it's
so.
like that after that like first drink hits, and it's like your stomach just kind of like lifts for a second, and you're like, oh, like it's that kind of nice feeling, just kind of like spreads like from your heart, just like hits your whole body.
Yeah, and
it's
you know that you feel that way because of Vic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How long does it last for?
Not long. It's just like a quick little like.
Do we know we've been charmed after? Is it like friends?
It's actually not.
Yeah.
Nice.
it just lasts for like one of my turns. So for 10
Okay.
seconds, you think I'm
Yeah,
real
I
rad.
think Delilah will set down their glass with their girl on fireball and kind of push it across the table, and the mix is off. And that's all. That's all they'll say, though they are very impressed by Vic right now.
Mm-hmm. Rook picks up the drumstick, starts walking over to Vic, and like within the 10 seconds start to hand it to, and then well, let's sit and enjoy the show, huh?
Well, are we doing wings or not? Like, what's happening?
I can't eat, Bruno. I literally cannot consume.
Bruno, I imagine this entire scene, the waitress has been standing here, and you're like, just 1 second. Whenever they're done, we're gonna make it. Just hang on just 1 second. We're trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh my god, yes, I will eat a wing.
Bruno just doesn't want to have to pay for the wings. It's just like, if one person eats a wing, I'm not paying full price. We're splitting it.
Yep. So yeah, if you just like hang out at the table and wait, Bix Scahill and his big band, they come back out on stage, and they play some more. And I think probably at this point they're like joined on stage by a vocalist. There is a young woman dressed up like Jessica Rabbit who comes out and does a very, very sultry jazz number. And it's clear everybody in the audience, like, they came to see her. I think you all, maybe Delilah, you wouldn't recognize her, but Bruno, Vic, and Rook, you know this woman. Apparently her story is that she showed up in Sharn. She grew up on like a farm, somewhere far away from the trains, and she came to Sharn to make it big. And now she has this gig at this fancy new place, and she's like a kind of a rising star. And so she comes out and she starts singing, and everybody's just totally enraptured by this. See, this is the thing. I can't tell you if she's hot or not because
you can.
I don't know what your characters think hotness is.
My character thinks hotness is whatever I think is hot. This is a 3-part miniseries. It's not gonna matter.
I would not find her hot. I think she's too packaged to be hot. I think that she's not interesting enough to be hot. She's maybe conventionally attractive, but
okay. She sells CDs hot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she's like, 20s like starlet hot in the sense that she's like got this kind of girl next door who's become glamorous, like, so she's still accessible as a person, but she's also kind of mythological because she's a fancy singer or whatever. But everybody in here loves her.
Delilah has like a sideways comment and basically 6 months from a drug spiral.
Yeah, right. Well, and that's the thing, is that she's in a bad place. She might be on top of the pile now, but if the baby suddenly decides that she doesn't like her, then trouble for this girl.
Ripperoni.
Yeah, so she comes out and she starts singing, and she gets partway through like her second song when there is the arrival of a well-dressed individual, a rather burly looking man. Bruno, perhaps another of your former compatriots of the fighting ring, comes out of this entrance, and same thing as the bouncers outside. He's wearing the like gorilla suit, right? The tuxedo, with the collar that's too tight and the bow tie. And he comes out and he starts walking over to your table, and walking along this way, towards the table.
Bruno's going to just like put their hands in their coats and like and ready their knuckle dusters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just have them there.
Okay. All right. So so he starts walking over to the towards the table, and he stops because he can't quite get to where Delilah is. He stops and he just goes hands folded in front of him, And he says to you, Delilah, whether you look at him or not, he says, here's a question. Are you married?
Delilah has been married.
Yeah, that was the other thing. So are you
But I
like
don't
a
think
widower or
I don't
like...
think Delilah is a multiple time widowed status person.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to get money, really.
So he comes over and he says, Delilah DeCanneth, I presume. You turn, pay attention to him.
Delilah will put up a finger as they finish off one of the apple pie moonshine shots.
Thump.
And then like delicately rearranges it on the tray and slowly turns their head.
My employer, Mr. Myson, would like to speak with you upstairs in the VIP area.
Well, when I'm finished here, I'll pay him a visit.
And you can see him, he kind of like, you watch the moment where he's like, I'm not going to roll my eyes. I'm not going to roll my eyes. I'm not going to do it. And he just exhales slightly through his nose and he says, I'll wait.
Over there, if you don't mind, you're obscuring my view of this delightful concert.
He takes
Bruno will stand up.
He takes a single step back this way.
It's okay if like he's not even standing in front of the concert. That's fine.
Yeah,
it's just like
you're crowding my space, man. You're cramping my style.
I can't hear these delightful dulcet tones over your mouth breathing.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, he takes a step back. He doesn't take the bait. He doesn't get angry. He just puts his hands in front of his chest and he watches the stage.
I watch him.
Yeah.
The entire time.
Okay. Do you want to make an insight check?
Yes, I'd love to. If it will let me click. There we go. Here we are. We're back. Insight. Another 6. Does that work for you?
You're doing so well today.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
He is impassive. He is as a rock. You can't get a read on him at all.
The baby's sending his best. A lot. All right.
Yeah, Bruno will sit back down and finish off their wings.
Excellent. Is anybody else eating them, or is this just like Bruno shoveling dinosaur wings into their mouth?
Bruno is eating all the wings and I'm drinking all of the liquor.
I keep imagining that Bruno is proportioned like Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph. Like mostly arms.
I have a single wing, but I eat it. I like slowly pick off pieces of it and I just put it in my mouth very dainty.
You can't damage the lipstick.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Delicious. So the song finishes, right? And this singer, I think she probably has a stage name like Blue Rose or something. Yes. And she finishes the song. And this is one of those like big Christina Aguilera finishes, right? This is like a Baz Luhrmann musical finish with like, you know, she's singing and there's like an illusion behind her of like dolphins leaping from the water. And when she finishes, she wipes away a single tear right from her eye. Like, you know, she's so touched to be here.
This is the most amazing night of my life.
Yeah, like thank you so much, everyone. And everyone's clapping.
Thank
Bruno,
you, Ravnica.
Bruno, you see over here, there's a guy, another boxer. You recognize this guy as kind of like an up and comer, and he's sitting there with like a bunch of hangers on. He gets up and just starts like clapping, and you notice he's got a blue flower like in his lapel. And he's just like clapping, like woo, like cheering, and she demurely like, you know, leaves the stage, and backstage, you know, immediately she just like starts fucking smoking cigarettes. But she goes backstage. Bix and his players, they settle into like a quieter, like a loungier number, and you hear just the slightest clearing of the throat from the guard, right? The bouncer's like,
oh, you're still here. Oh, all right. Delilah will leisurely get away from the
Are
table.
you signaling to any of us that you want us to come or that you want us to stay behind?
I assumed we were all following.
Yeah, we're all coming.
Oh, I'd wait. I would wait until the
Yeah.
signal.
So Delilah, you get up and he gestures, right? Like right this way, please. But then if anybody else also gets up from the
Brooke
table,
gets up.
okay.
Yeah, Delilah will like notice that there's some space between them and the rest of the group, and then again.
Then I'm up.
The guard puts a meaty hand up and he says, I'm sorry, this invitation was extended only to Delilah. The rest of you have a seat. Enjoy the show. I'll have some drinks sent around. And he looks over at the bartender like, drink these folks up.
That's so kind. We'll have them in the office. Thank you.
So you want to try to pressure him into letting you bring your friends upstairs?
Like, what are you gonna do? You gonna throw me out?
I want
Okay.
yeah, I would love to do an intimidation or assist in someone's intimidation roll.
Well, I'm gonna cast friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna do that, and I cast friends, and I say, well,
so
I don't
before
think
you cast your spell, what components does this spell have?
a small amount of makeup applied to the face as the spell is cast.
Is it verbal, somatic, and material components?
It's just somatic and material.
So you don't have to say anything. You just move your hands. Okay. So he won't notice if you cast it then, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think I'm straight up copying Delilah, and I think it is lipstick. It's just like the quickest.
That's great. That's perfect. Yeah.
I think Delilah taught me this.
Okay, so does he get a saving throw against friends?
I just get advantage, which I need.
So it gives you advantage on persuasion rolls?
And
okay. So what do you cast the spell, you reapply your lipstick, and then you say,
I don't think it's very reasonable that you'd expect Delilah, the decandidate, to go anywhere without a proper entourage.
excellent. Okay. So go ahead and make that roll with advantage.
All right, here we go.
Try to roll differently roll differently than yourself and roll more like someone who rolls better.
Yeah, I'll think about Adam last
Roll
time.
roll like Carlos whenever Carlos is in disguise.
Oh yeah, whenever Carlos is
somebody else's boyfriend.
Well, 21.
Hi, you did it! You rolled like
nice.
Carlos.
I rolled like Carlos.
Winner!
For the win!
Excellent, nicely done. Okay, so yeah, you ensorcellate this guy, and he looks at the table and he says, "Well, I'm going to make an intimidation check on behalf of his boss, in absentia."
Okay.
He was quite intimidating, and let's see who he is more intimidated by.
Beat a 21, you dumb baby.
You got a 27.
You should not mock me.
Katie May!
Oh, come on.
Katie May!
My God.
Katie May!
You did this.
Adam,
You
I just want
caused
to
this.
point out that I've done 2 sessions with you now, and I think you've rolled 5 nat 20s.
Yep. Do not take me for a conjurer of cheap tricks, Katie May.
I knew that you were writing macros.
So you are persuasive, but the baby is more persuasive. And it looks like it really hurts this guy that he wants to say yes, right? He's like, that does make sense. Your argument is correct. And he nods and he says, that's the thing. Mr. Myson was very clear that the invitation extended only to his old friend Delilah. I'm sorry, you 3 will have to stay down here. I meant it about the drinks, though. I'll make sure you have a good time. It's just going to be a short conversation. I promise. I'll have them back to you in just a minute.
This is a clear change of demeanor.
Yeah, like all of a sudden he's being real nice to Vic and like apologetic and like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I have to say no.
Delilah will look from Vic to the bodyguard and just sort of, Don't worry, Vic. I'm certain that I'll be perfectly safe. And see if like there's any facial change on him.
While this is happening, can Rook kind of just like walk away for a moment to the bathroom and like dip into stealth?
Yeah. The facilities are back here.
Cool. Well, I think more or less like almost as if immediately behind, just getting hidden. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Rolled an 18.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
You're very sneaky. And
Very sneaky.
the idea is you want to follow them? Okay.
I want to like, yes, follow them where they go and also be within earshot of Delilah if possible.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't think that this guy expects you to just straight up follow them upstairs. So yeah. Okay. So Delilah, the guard leads you back to this hallway back here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Delilah's gonna loop their hand on the inside of this guard's elbow, just like hold on to it, like, oh, we're friends.
Okay.
Also, the guard has probably like 13 seconds left until he realizes that magic was done unto him.
Like, wait a second.
Just
Pepperoni.
I'm nothing if not on it.
Yeah. I would like to, if things go awry, I would like to hold an action for shocking grasp on this guard, but
okay, so you want to ready a shocking grasp in case. Now the thing about casting a spell is with a held spell is you cast most of it and then you have to like hold it in your mind. So he would hear you casting a spell. If you want to excuse yourself and be like, I'm just going to run to the facilities first, you could go into the bathroom and cast it and then hold it in your head.
Nope.
Okay, so you're just like, nope, we'll go with him. And so, all right. So if you do want to cast something, it will require that you roll initiative to like beat him to the punch. Yeah. Okay.
If I, so when they cast it, they will do it to the tune of whatever Blue Rose was singing, sort of like surreptitiously, but they'll cast it there. That's fine. And then hold on to like as a trigger. Because I think Delilah is more interested in intimidating this clown.
Yeah. All right. So as you walk down the hall, these two doors, just for future reference, the door on the north has a sign on it that says talent only. This door on this side, I'm actually going to open it slightly because it's been propped open. And I'll just open it there. So that door, as you walk by, it's propped open slightly. There's like a little wooden crate like stuck in it so it doesn't close on its own. As you walk by, you can feel a cool breeze from outside. You can hear rain and you can smell lingering like cigarette smoke in the air as you walk by that door. And then there's a set of stairs that lead up to a little landing and then stairs that go up to the second floor, which he escorts you to through this hallway. So let me take you upstairs, Delilah. So the two of you head up the stairs, and you arrive in a hallway. Yeah, up here. I'll click for everybody else. It'll just be dark up here, but Delilah, you can see. So this is a long hall, and this hallway has a bunch of doors on the right, which are all closed, and on the left, as you walk by, there are framed pictures of various celebrities. There are pictures of, and some of them are like signed headshots. So you see like a bunch of those, but a few of them are more candid photos of what look like gangsters, basically partying with famous like singers and musicians. So you'll see like a bunch of people sitting around a table, kind of looking at the camera like, oh, you'd like, no, don't take a picture, like jokingly, and people drinking together and like people standing. And there's a photo of the old dilapidated, and I'm imagining like the Bradbury building in LA, the Bradbury Building, the old dilapidated version of this building, and you can see a curmudgeonly looking, almost like spherical, like barrel shaped halfling in a suit that's slightly too tight for him. And he's got a big pair of ceremonial scissors, and he's cutting a ribbon. And there are some other what look like politicians like around him. And so you see this lining the wall of the hall as you're escorted through it. Meanwhile, downstairs, what's going on? Are you going to follow them upstairs, Rook?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All the way through it.
All right. So I'll put you around. You're around this corner.
I had to like be hiding within the stair now to like just peeking around.
Yeah, exactly. Peeping around the corner. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And then for Vic, so Vic and Bruno, you are still at the table. What are you gonna do?
Bruno's gonna get up and go over to that person that had the blue flower.
Yeah. Okay. The other guy, let's say he's over. Let me I'll put a new marker down for this guy. So he's over at this far table here. There you go. Yeah, so you want to walk over here? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's now talking. As you walk up, you can hear him talking to his friends about and it's clear they've been here a while, and they've been drinking a while, because there's one of those ornate metal ice buckets. And there's like 2 empty champagne bottles in it, and there's champagne flutes all over the table. There's a cigar burning in an ashtray on the table. And as you walk over, he's telling one of the men that he's here with, he's like, I've seen Blue Rose perform here 17 nights in a row, and every time it gets me right here. And he like pokes at his chest. And do you want him to notice you walking over, or are you walking over like behind him, like out of his field of view?
I'm kind of behind. I'm just like eavesdropping for a minute, but then I want to quickly like come up and like put my arm around this person, and immediately be like, oh, hey, hey, goodbye, and like just feigning very, very drunk.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you come over and you like put your arm around him. He gets startled and surprised and kind of like recoils, and he's like, "Whoa, hey!" And he stands up, and his chair like knocks over, and he does that thing where he kind of flinches a little, like he's not sure if he should punch you or not. Like he's gauging whether you're a threat.
He puts his hands up like for fisticuffs, and then like Bruno puts the hands out like, "Oh, hey, whoa, we got a fighter over here. Hey, look at this guy. Come here." And
he looks at his friends, and he kind of pushes you away, like puts a hand on your chest and pushes you back, and he says, "All right, buddy, I'm off the clock. I don't have time for autographs. Me and my friends are just trying to enjoy the show, so scram. All right?"
No, I'm your friend, right? Like we've been around each other before. I just want to come over and say hi again, you know?
So you know this guy, and he doesn't recognize you because you're disguised, but are you inviting him to like take a closer look and recognize you? Okay.
I'm still trying to be someone else here, but like,
okay, but I think the thing is, because of like you're trusting Vic's disguise, but Bruno doesn't know Vic only rolled an 11. I'm gonna see. So when you're like, I know you, he's like, do I know this guy? So he's gonna see, do I know them? Let me make an insight check. He's not very insightful. DC 11. I got a 4. So he looks at you and he's like, nah, I don't know you, buddy. And he just gestures like,
wait. No, I see your I saw the blue rose, you know? Yeah, I'm a big fan too. Like me, I'm the second biggest fan next to you, probably, you know?
And yeah, you can see him. He was about to fight you over that. He was about to be like, no, I'm her biggest fan. But then you were like, I'm second biggest. And he nods and he says, actually make a persuasion check. I want to see if he's like, get someone else to scram and give you the seat.
Boom! First roll.
Wow.
Number one, big number one on that one.
Welcome to my house. Welcome to my house.
For
live
those
here now.
listening out at home, it was the best is a hole in one. Just brilliant on the field. Well done.
So Vic, you, I imagine, have been, so this is what happens. So Bruno, you say, you're like, I'm a second base fan. And you can see the guy be like, all right, buddy. And this is the all right, buddy. He's not even saying it to you. He's saying to his friends to signal to them, like, I'm going to take out the garbage. Don't you worry about it. Like, but keep an eye on me because I'm going to show off, right? This, like, I fight for a living. I'm a big tough guy. I'm going to throw you out of here. And so you see him, he starts rolling his sleeves up and he like takes his rings off and like gives them to somebody. You can see him, he's peacocking before what he expects to be a quick fight, right? But Vic, you're over at the table by yourself over here. Where is your attention right now? Delilah has gone upstairs. Bruno is in the crowd now.
I'm nearly certain I've cast invisibility and am no further than 10 feet away from Delilah right now.
Okay, so where would you go to cast invisibility? Because again, this is the thing about spells with verbal components. Yeah. Somatic components are like waving your arms around. So like, that's the thing. Sometimes you could not notice them, but most of the time, like they're fairly obviously looking right at them. Verbal components are like speaking in a loud, clear voice. So people around would hear you casting a spell.
I imagine it's like timed to the jazz music, and it's like almost like a move where you like go to the bathroom and you look like you're walking in, but before you've walked in fully, you're already invisible. So you never like fully make it like past
so you're gonna
the
so you're gonna leave like the common area to cast the spell. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. So you have here's a question. Here's an Eberron related question.
Yeah, I have all the answers to those.
Well, it's more like a question. It's like the questions that sometimes come up on Jay Speller Must Die. No one has an answer for this, but I'm looking at the layout of this bar, right? And as you walk back towards what I assume are the bathrooms, because from what I can see of them, it's 6 5x5 cubes with a connecting like hallway. So I have to assume this is the bathroom. Now there are 2 of them, but given what we know about the universe of Eberron, do you think it's just 2 batches of gender neutral washrooms, or do you think they have like gendered and non-gendered as their differentiation between the 2, or like how do they split them? Because
maybe species is more appropriate.
Yeah,
maybe that's.
I think height, like because halflings probably use a different size toilet, right?
It's a hot or not. So you actually walk up to the bathroom and it tells you if you're hot or not.
5s and 10s.
Okay, right, good. That's much better.
Or
the hot people washrooms
have like
and right.
I assume if somebody has like a tail, then
the not hot people washrooms are for doing gross things like peeing. The other ones are for doing drugs and having sex in. So
no. Okay. You can ask Wizards of the Coast, that'll back that up.
Okay, good. All right, so this is canon now. In Eberron, it's not a gender binary, it's a hot or not binary. Good.
5s and 10s.
Yeah, 5s and 10s. Okay, all right. So you get back there, and like you said, if you just walk in, cast the spell, and then walk out before the door is finished swinging, no one will notice that you're invisible. So you leave. There's no one to hear you become invisible, and then you do, and you walk out, and now no one can see you.
Hell yeah.
However, upstairs, and I think this is the thing we'll need to maybe start this, but finish it next time. Upstairs, the thug in question realizes that they have been ensorcellated, right?
Bamboozled.
So you get a couple of steps ahead of him. You're maybe like here in the hallway, and you hear him mutter to himself, "Wait a second, what the hell?" Do either of you do anything? Do either of you leap into action before he realizes, or do you give him a minute?
Hey,
I think Delilah has like experienced like Vic doing this bullshit before.
Yeah,
Delilah I'm sure
Delilah will like look back over the shoulder and
he has a face you haven't seen in a long time, but it is the face of a man who has just realized that he was enchanted.
Bamboozled.
Yeah, he's like,
wait
a second.
Chase?
That damn, and
There's Chase.
you can see him trying to like he's still trying to figure out what to do about that. He's like, wait a second, no, that can't. What happened here? And he's there's a moment of confusion. Do you do anything, or do you wait and watch to see how he reacts?
Delilah's gonna keep walking with just the assumption that he will follow them. And if they don't, if he doesn't, he doesn't. Delilah doesn't know that Rook is sneaky in here in this area. So, but like as far as Delilah is concerned, this dude's mad at Vic.
Yeah, sure.
So, whatever.
Okay.
I'm mad at Vic all the time, and I've managed to get over it.
Yeah, right. Okay. I'm gonna make an intelligence check for him to see if and it's a first level spell, right?
Yeah.
Vic?
And this probably isn't the
Friend?
first time a patron has cast friends on a bouncer.
Friends is a fucking cantrip.
It's a cantrip? Okay. So we'll make a DC. I'm gonna make a DC 10 intelligence check to see if he realizes what's going on, or if he's just like he just has some weird feelings about Vic. If I fail this check, he falls in love with you.
Yes.
I got a 3.
3.
Okay.
Someone's in love with Vic.
So what happens with this guard is the guard is having some strange new feelings about this person that talked back to them downstairs. But instead of turning around immediately to go and confront Vic about it, they're like, no, I have to do work. And so Delilah, you cast a glance, you see a moment of confusion, and you see him just like, I think maybe he literally shakes his head like he gets a chill, and then he looks at you, and I assume you don't like let on that you notice, right?
I mean, honestly, Delilah, I think would kind of let on because it's like a very smug, like,
yeah, like, are you okay?
like, are you all right? Like, this can't be the first time someone's cast friends on a bouncer. Like,
yeah, right. Like, I guarantee that there are signs in this bar that say like no spell casting.
Yeah,
or
like no charm spells, no
do
no
not charm person the
money.
bartender.
Yeah, no illusory money accepted.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And
When
so
you walk in, there's a scanner that if it detects any Warforged, there's a guy at the bar who's like, we don't serve your kind here.
Rude.
So yeah, okay. So he shakes it off. He has some weird feelings about Vic now, which we can maybe never address. But eventually you come around the corner into like a waiting area. And in this area, you can see that on one side, there's a very nice like leather couch. There's some ferns, there's a table, and there's a set of double doors right here. And the bouncer walks towards it to go and open it, and he turns to you and he says, Mr. Myson is just right through here.
Thank you, dear.
Okay. And of course, hiding behind this fern over here, we have Rook. So Rook, you watch. If Delilah goes through that door, you might lose track of her. But I think that's where we stop for now, right? Is that downstairs, Vic is invisible. Bruno is talking to this other boxer. Upstairs, you have Rook hiding behind a fern, and Delilah is about to go into I was gonna say like the lion's den, but it's a very small lion. The weasel's nest. Delilah is about to meet the baby face to face, and it seems like maybe all alone, unless Rook can get in there. So. Yeah. We'll find out how all that goes, and we'll find out that, and then we'll also figure out why the hell the group of you ended up on a train, more to the salient point, next time on Gateway to Perdition. That's our episode. Thank you for coming, everybody. Let's do some shout outs, and we'll call it an episode. Let's start down here with William. Please tell us, where can we find you and what are you up to?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at kwilliamwhite. You can also find me on the Q Times Twitch and YouTube channel. Q Times, which is QUEUE Times, like you're waiting in a queue. They do a lot of live streaming stuff. They just got a couple really exciting shows like on the roster, and the start of next year it's going to be popping. So check that stuff out. I GM Kids on Bikes. Long run continuous campaign. We're in our second season right now. We just recorded, I think, our 39th episode or something like that. So that's been really cool. I do that on Tuesday nights, but the VODs go up on the YouTube channel, so you can just check all the back catalog. It's in a playlist called Hijinks and Handlebars. Yeah, and then I also tonight am going to be on a Monster of the Week campaign. It's a continuous campaign as well, but we are in our last 2 episodes of the entire series.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's a limited series kind of run thing. We've had 4 arcs so far. We're in the 5th and final one, and that's also with queue times. So tonight at I think about 7:30 Pacific. So that's going to be super late for anybody who's not on the Pacific Coast. But
Thank God for VODs.
yes, yeah, the VODs will also be going up on the Q Times main YouTube channel as well. But that's what I'm doing right now. And also, that I think I mentioned a Kickstarter last time I was on here. That got funded. So
Yes.
Very dope.
Awesome. I remember checking. I checked it right after the show, and I was like, "Ooh, they got some time to go." But I always forget Kickstarters always get a big jump at the end. So congratulations.
Well, we were concerned about it. We did a full day, like 14-hour live stream to do like a final push, and we made up $9,000 in one day. So
nice.
And that pushed us over the edge. It was great. So look forward to that in the future. That's about all I got. Okay, thanks for having me.
Excellent. That's great. Thank you. Katie May, why don't you go next?
Okay. I'm Katie May. You can find me at Twitter at OKKatieMay. If you're interested in seeing me do some DM shenanigans, you should go and listen to Dungeons, Dice, and Everything Nice. It is an all-women 5e Dungeons & Dragons podcast done by some very funny people in Chicago. It's Randy. That's what I got to say about that. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's a lot of fun. That's available wherever you listen. Plan to come to C2E2 next year if you're in the Chicago area. But besides that, I'm chilling for the rest of the year.
Nice.
So,
Nice. That's a good way to play out the year. Excellently done. Cool. I'm saving TK and their fresh haircut for last. So Masood, please.
Cat.
Most important.
Yeah. Also, just as soon as your cat gets directly in front of you, it's like, Azula, would you like to do a shout out here? Or?
Well, I would love to talk about the social media profile and presence I'm building. Yeah, you can find me but no, you can find me online at Marudeboy, MAHRUDEBOI, at both Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter, if you follow me, I will not follow you back, but I appreciate the follow and the content because I will most often engage with you if you leave some sort of way of me to engage with you. Yeah, you can keep up with me, what I'm doing through both of those. Right now, I'll be honest, like this is my one like sort of creative show right now. I'm been directing a lot through the directing program and like haven't been creating content of my own, and it's been kind of nice. And, like gestating, I realized it like for the past 3 years I've been in a show that is either ended and a new one has immediately started, or I started another one during the there's been something continual. There's been a continual process, and right now, it's like, oh, I have time to write. That's how that happens. That's where that comes from. But yeah, keep up with what's happening on Instagram and Twitter. That's about it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Masood. And last but not least, looking fresh as hell, TK, please.
It's me. It's TK, and I'm fresh as hell.
Confirmed.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, follow me on the Twitters if you want spooky stories and dumb hair care tips, I guess. I write spooky stories. Read them on my website, tkjwrites.com. That's what it is. And then my Twitter is TK Joins the Fray. If you're wondering if I've gotten any more written on my novel, the answer is no. So I will be roasted daily by Ashley and Lisa, probably until I die, because they are brutal but loving.
I feel like that statement is the ultimate truth of every writer ever. If you'd like to know if I've done any work on my novel, the answer is no. Thanks for coming.
The answer is no, but I've been on Twitter.
I've been thinking about it.
My gosh, excellent. Lisa fucking roasted me yesterday, and it was...
I can't believe on Tales you're the one that gets bullied. What is this?
They're all really pretty. Like,
no,
I love it when
implies something about the Jace Bellerin cast that I think you may want to take
you
back.
are too young for me.
Well,
By
we're going to have the
far.
rest of this conversation offline. So thank you so much for coming, everybody. We're going to be back next week with more Gateway to Perdition. It should be the thrilling conclusion of our 3-part miniseries. Thanks for coming. That's it for us. See you later. Bye, everybody.